I had
You're
to.
welcome.
No,
We
that's
started
fine.
early.
I had to. Now we're talking behind the scenes. You know,
That's what the people pay for, or don't even pay for. They just tune in for. Listen
they
to our
just get
ads.
it. If you join Patreon, though, you get behind the scenes stuff. They got a big behind the scenes update today, so that's pretty cool. You know.
I think last time it was even like a better behind the scenes. Not the, I guess not the review we did, just like the news. I think we were just actually no, we did that on cast, just talking about music and stuff. I forgot that was like the first 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. No, it wasn't the first. It was near the end. That's why I felt comfortable doing it. If we were talking about Dua Lipa and Taylor Swift for about 25 minutes at the start, oof, we might lose some people. But near the end, when it's at like hour 40 out of the hour 45 of the podcast, you know, it's fine.
I mean, we might gain new Patreons because of that. They're like, oh, I didn't know these guys like music. I thought they only 100%. Talked comics.
We've always joked about the Patreon music show one day. You know, when Kyle was.
We just gotta get Kyle, yeah. If he's jumping on those buses to Kelowna.
As I'm sharing the links, I like this little opening that we got going on here. The funny thing is, have you listened to any Kanye's new music?
His new music?
Yeah.
Like how old of new?
Like last week.
Oh, definitely. I heard like through the grapevine that he was supposed to drop an album, and then everyone was disappointed, but I was none the wiser.
Yeah, him and Jay-Z back together doing music.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. You didn't know about that?
No, I'm like, I put Kanye in the back burner. I'm okay with just like, even what was his last album? But no, sorry, not the gospel one, the one before that. Actually, I think the one before that was. I think even he had one after that, which was just Yay, if I remember correctly. No, but so. Life of Pablo, I didn't listen to that one for like years because I'm just like, oh, fuck Kanye. I'm not listening to that shit. And then I think you actually were ranting and raving about it. And then again, some more people at work were like, oh, it's my favorite one. And
I won't go that far. You didn't hear me say that.
No, not you. I said
no, I know. I'm just saying those people are a little wrong. But that's fine.
There's some bangers on there. I don't think it's as great as the people that I work with were claiming, but fuck Kanye. There you go, fanboy Clay.
Yeah, before we like officially start the episode, we'll use this. If you join Patreon, the only two ways you get this uncut stuff is either you're watching live or if you join Patreon. So there's a fun little clue there. Kanye, I'm in a very difficult situation because I 100% believe he's a piece of shit. I like full no doubts. Like I don't like the guy, especially after he did all the last election stuff. I don't care what you think, and just some of the stuff. I'm not even a Kim or what the fuck is her name? Yeah, Kim Kardashian fan. Yeah,
Kimberly, I think is her real name.
Some of the stuff he even said during that stuff, I was like, okay, not cool. But it's tough as far as he is one of those cases. I have to separate the art from the artist because I do love all his music for the most part. The gospel stuff, yeah, wasn't really for me. I think some of it was just like actually poorly done and obnoxious, but. Like I was a huge fan of was the whole album called Black Skinhead or was that the one? Let's just pull the film.
Yeezus was that album.
Yeezus,
so
yeah,
he had a song
really
on there,
like
Black
that.
Skinhead, yeah.
Black Skinhead, yeah, that's my favorite one on there. Obviously,
that's like my middle tier list. I think that album.
But yeah, I get that a lot from people, and I understand it. But like, let's see right now. So he had Jesus is King. That's the other one. Kids Sees Ghosts. Yay! Yay was the last one we were like. That was 2018. Life of Pablo. Yeah. I loved Life of Pablo. Yeezus, and then Watch the Throne. Like it's like the Dark Knight.
One of the best collab albums of all time.
It's like the Dark Knight when people don't want to say it's the greatest comic book movie of all time, but it's like, yeah, but it kind of is. Like, we just know it. That's what Watch the Throne is. Yeah, it's like, you don't want to say it because everyone else says it, but it's like, yeah, Watch the Throne, that's some shit. But not the only one. I'm sure there's other ones, but Fanboy Clay says he's over the top obnoxious for the past 15 years. Yes, but there's a difference between obnoxious to asshole for me. That's always the case, you know, and that's where I think he became a dangerous asshole the last few years.
Sorry, no, you're on a roll there. I was cutting in. Oh, I should keep going. You're Gatorading up. Get your G Fuel.
Blue Cool. It's not even Blue Raspberry anymore. Blue Cool. No, I was just gonna say. I think there's probably some other ones out there. The only person that I do not listen to that I don't separate art from the artist is Chris Brown. Because fuck Chris Brown.
Yeah, that's a bad one. Yeah, no, because I mean, similar topic when people like talk about like Michael Jackson. I feel like it's different for me because he's like dead now, and like Chris Brown is like still profiting off of like money that his music. So it's like for me, yeah, I'm in that same category. I just will never ever listen to Chris Brown or something like that again. But I'll love Michael Jackson. So I like his early like me or I don't know what all era of early. Yeah, no, all of it. Like Billie Jean, like that's one of the greatest songs of all time. But and getting back to Kanye, my thing with Kanye is it's dicey because I feel like there's so many people that either completely despise him or like literally worship him like he is a god, and it's very unhealthy because he is someone that actually has mental health. Like he's like so like bipolar, and like ever since like his mom died, like he's been really like messed up mentally. But I feel like he was just been in such an environment that has just not been helpful for his mental health, and then he's around all these people that again are just like worshiping him. He got like in with the Kardashians, and like that's a whole like that's not real life. That's like a whole
that's a
new
show.
Can of worms. So like I feel like it's just been in a really weird situation, but at the same time, you can't really excuse his behavior and like put it on that. I don't know. So it's tough for me because a part of me is like, dude, Late Registration, that is like one of my favorite albums of all time. College Dropout, Graduation, like those are just, oh my gosh, that is music that has like shaped me in my life. But it's interesting to see where he is now, right?
Well, yeah, and even look at his story, like how he like broke his jaw and he was told like you're never gonna sing and all this stuff. Like he had a really inspirational start. So I think that's how like you had that story, and then you had Anthony Walton. Tony. I'm excited to talk about that. You had like this, I think, kind of underdog start, and then he had this meteoric rise, and then he had Watch the Throne, but also just like Stronger. Gold Digger is just like.
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, that when that came out, that was a song you just heard everywhere. So I think it's just he had such a huge rise, and then he went because he just had these. He's like a classic comic villains. He had these levels of bad, and then went blah blah blah. But Anthony, I never know Anthony. What do you prefer, Anthony or Tony? But either way, I'm calling you Tony. Hot take: MJ's overrated. Only a couple good songs. You're fucking lying. There's no. Now here's where I'm in a difficult situation with MJ, because MJ before all that stuff went down. I love so much of Michael Jackson music. He's for sure a top tenor. I don't think we did in albums because for me, I 100% believe that he did some bad stuff to these kids. In my opinion, there's just too much things that were said and too many like. People always chalk it up. They're like, oh yeah, he just had a rough childhood, so he was like a child his whole life. There's just too much. It's like you're a grown adult male, you know better. It's just there's too much. Even if there's something he didn't do, he's a weird fucker. But man, I legitimately that's why I can't call him the GOAT because that stuff. But if that stuff didn't happen, I could make an argument for him being the GOAT. I think like his music, his singing, his timing, he had everything.
Stage performance, like
go
everything.
And watch his Super Bowl performance. That is something incredible. The only thing, not the only thing, but the reason they did it in the movie is like the end of Bohemian Rhapsody, like. When Queen does that set, that's one of the greatest sets of all time. That may be the greatest, but Jackson's Super Bowl, same thing. So there's a moment though.
There's a moment in the Super Bowl performance when he literally just stands there and doesn't do anything. I think it's like for over a full minute, and everyone's just like screaming, and he's just like standing there, being like a statue, like just like God. Like no, he was another level. Also, like he was. Like absurdly famous at a time when there wasn't really famous like that many famous people to his level. Like now, you know, like with social media, you just like there's celebrities everywhere, even if you've never heard of them. They're like, oh, this person's really famous. Yeah, exactly. And
he
like
Elvis level
he literally couldn't go anywhere in public. Like he was just that was insane. Just when you get into the dicey stuff, I don't look into it, and I don't want to like put that as like, oh, I'm just like ignoring it and like pretending it's not happened. I'm not one that like spreads the gospel of MJ, but I like to listen to his music and on my own, and I appreciate the music.
Other than that, garbage has good music.
Oh my
no Elvis.
Bad? Come on.
Bad man in the mirror. What the hell now? The way you are, stuff like that.
The way you make me feel.
Yeah, exactly. So,
dude,
there's some other bangers in there that now I'm blanking.
That is a hot take.
I told you, but it is a hot take. He's no Elvis.
Call you Tony now, just because you're getting this.
Elvis was no hot. Oh, so Fanboy Clay, if you don't know, we'll start the show here in a second. We, for the newscast, we stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at the same time. So Tony's on Facebook watching this. So Clay's like, "Ooh, you're not." Yeah.
I didn't know they weren't able to see each other. That's funny.
No, that's the only we get the full experience. So that's why it's we don't do them for some casts if we're super late, but newscasts we have some fun. So There you go. We talk about some music. I'm sure it might come up again. You ready to do episode 403 here?
Absolutely. Good little 10-minute intro there. I like it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 403rd episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am Mr. Pink Tresnell, and I'm joined by the fellow Pew Boy.
Yes, the second half of the Pew Boys. I am the $400 million Kirklin Patzer.
You're gonna have to explain this. Arguing to Invisible Man S Bubs. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, you either watch live or you check out Patreon because you get the uncut. Well, we just had a whole 10-minute opening that you may not hear in the podcast feed. So, ladies and gentlemen, find us on Twitter and Facebook. But most importantly, go down in the description below because, like I was talking about with Patreon right there, you can go there. And this is for patrons that don't know at the $5 tier or higher. Check out. There's a behind the scenes thing. There's a whole bunch of stuff. It's talking about our summer plans, our fall plans, our new Patreon plans, our movie update. We're putting out a survey soon. So tons of things there. But most importantly, even if you don't know if you're going to be able to support the Patreon or you're just thinking about it, go to Patreon because the very first page has a whole like paragraph of what we're going to be doing in the fall. Legitimately this time because you guys have got all our gear, stuff like that. Supporting us is going to create new content, and there's a whole spiel about that. And if you're interested, there's a whole 30-minute conversation that I had on my lunch break. There's a few trucks that went by, so they're loud, but just a little update to the viewers and everything like that, and just some, a little teases to what's coming in the future. Like I said, Twitter, Facebook, that's where you can find our schedule. This week we just released the superhero draft, so you can go check that out. I'm very excited because that's my favorite. Golden Geeks and that is one of my favorite times of the year, and that's the best thing about Patreon. You guys listening, supporting us. We have more planned for next year, more drafts. We have, I'm going to save it. That's why you're going to have to go Patreon. Patreon still don't give you updates, but we have about 3 or 4 drafts planned, and because tons of people have always said like the Golden Geeks and draft, what they look forward to. That's kind of like our staples. Everyone can do a movie review, everyone can do news, but those are ours. Those are our things. Yeah. So, and I love, like, even I did listen selfishly. I usually don't listen much Geek First, but I listened to the draft again today. I love the whole maneuvering and who's going to pick who and stuff. So check that out. Check out the podcast network. We have Geek Ultimate Alliance. Go check out DC Alliance because they just announced our new show coming over there. I'm not going to spoil it. Go check that out. Download. They just did a good episode. And then this week or next week, I'll be on guessing superhero discussions with Travis Hines because I just watched Long Halloween Part 2. I didn't like 1. How did I like 2? You'll have to find out on that one. And then I just guessed on Marvel Alliance last week. So lots of good stuff popping off there. 7 shows. What is it now? 8 shows actually, 7 days a week. There's a whole schedule. You go over there. Lots of great people. Lots of great shows. Patreon, I said, if you can't support us there, that's completely fine. Head over to Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star written review. We got a bunch of nice, no written reviews, but he still gave us some 5 stars, so I appreciate that. If you don't want to write, completely fine. I think I've hit everything that there is to hit. You guys did Rocket League.
Yes, we had tons of fun with that. Yeah. I posted some highlights on it. There was some spectacular matches. At the end of the day, I think we still lost more games than we won, but there was some golden moments that made it feel like a winning day. So definitely go check those out on our Twitch, twitch.tv/geekverse.
Yeah, and if you have Amazon Prime subscription and you Twitch Prime stuff that you don't use, throw it our way because for those streams that help and also just supports us overall. I think for the next few weeks, there'll probably be no streams, right? Because you're going to be somewhere gone, right?
I'm going to be somewhere gone come Sunday this week. So who knows? If I happen to find some moments.
Yes, is this like Shay's bot account? Kirklin looks hot in this red hat. Artu Hora. This is like 2 weeks in a row. For last week, how hot you were and stuff like that. Shay, you must have a bot account. Come on now.
She is on her iPad right now, so I can't say what she's doing. But yeah, there you go. It could be her.
Well, it's all of been thirsted over at some point in Geekers. I gotta ask.
Means we're doing something good.
Yeah, I gotta ask Carl what happened to the other girl in Ireland. Remember during Patreon?
That's right.
Yeah, one of our patrons. Yeah, but anyways, you're saying you're going to visit your family.
I may or may not find a time to get like a quick stream in. It wouldn't be Sunday because I'm leaving Sunday morning. But if I do, just keep your eyes peeked on the Twitch and the social medias because I'll always post when we're going live, and the GeekVerse page will usually retweet nice and promptly.
Yeah, and then for the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to be holding down the floor. Dylan probably is going to guess the one. I might have some other guests, but You're going to get at least 3 Travises 3 times a week. I'm doing 2 newscasts, and I'll be reviewing What If. So I'll be putting that schedule out there. So we're going to have lots of fun together. And yeah, if you're on Patreon, send me questions and whatnot, because if it's lighter news, I'm excited to discuss it. So I think that's everything. Let's start wrapping off this news because we got tons of stuff to talk about today. Let's start with what the main title is, the thumbnail that Taylor almost achieved at. But Kingpin in the MCU. Now, I gotta preference this a few ways as far as I don't know what tier this rumor's on, because it started, and I know you're gonna roll your eyes, it started on Reddit, okay? On Reddit, it was like Marvel spoilers, but I think this account has before posted things that ended up being true. But it was like some Marvel spoilers tier, blah, blah, blah. And it was like Wilson Fisk. And this is why I don't know if I believe it. It was like Wilson Fisk is going to appear in like episode 5 or episode 6 of Hawk. It was very specific, but some people go, well, that's how they know, because maybe they're working on the set or they're working on the episode. They know it's that episode. So the reason I'm saying preferencing as far as they put that out, everyone's like, oh yeah, fuck, it's Reddit, I don't know. But then some other people started running it, sourcing Reddit, but then people were bringing up reports from last year that, and it was late last year, that was like Charlie Cox, John Berthnall, Kirsten Ritter, and Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin are all being tapped to come back to the MCU. We don't have any proof yet, but as right now, Charlie Cox is rumored for Daredevil. Kirsten Ritter, I think, is rumored for She-Hulk, and now this is another one of Wilson Fisk rumored for MCU. So I have some more things to bring up, but one, obviously you didn't want to watch Daredevil, you've seen a little bit, but what do you think the actual chances are as far as us getting that Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, in the MCU, specifically the rumors Hawkeye right now?
I think it's quite likely, honestly. Like if I'm looking at the deets of like the rumors, like it is pretty specific. So like you're saying, like
check our Discord too. It's down below. If not, tweet us, Facebook us. We'll give you a link. S Bubs is always dropping some knowledge in the chat, and he dropped some here. He said it was a description sent to the mods for Marvel spoilers. Supposedly they had video evidence. They showed the mods, but we didn't see the video evidence. So there's believe me sort of thing. So that's where the source is coming from.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, so I feel like just the details like surrounding the rumor makes it pretty plausible, and also like I haven't seen all of Daredevil, but I've seen plenty of episodes with him in it, and I love that interpretation of the character. I think you were the same. I was talking to some other people, and they all seem like really positive on the Kingpin choice. Yeah. So I definitely think it's likely. Also, since we're getting what's his name, Charlie Cox, like in the MCU, so like that's one character from the Marvel show or the Marvel Netflix shows that we are actually getting in the MCU now. There's talks of like Kristen Ritter now, and again, that's all rumors up to this point. But I'm leaning pretty likely actually that he is, because I don't think it's like, it's not one of those characters that would like be a big like Thanos type villain. But I think it would be really fun if they do it properly, and then he can just like kind of be like, I don't know, just shaking on like some other like smaller MCU titles, whether it's just TV shows, and then like maybe when he makes a big movie or possibly make a big like movie appearance down the line. I don't know. I just think it's really plausible, and I'm in the bandwagon of I'm thinking it's actually gonna happen. Now we'll see what happens on episode 5. What if it's like episode 6 and then we're like, oh, those scoopers were bullshit. Yeah, can't trust anyone.
All those fucking scoopers, yeah. It's tough, right? Because Family Clay says if Cox is likely, why can't Vincent? SBub says a big street level villain. I believe some things as far as like we've talked about this before, that there's these tracks in the MCU, right? You have the space track right now. That's Thor and Guardians, probably some other ones, right? Maybe Secret Invasion, Captain Marvel. So maybe that's all together. Before it was like, oh, we have this multiverse stuff and time travel stuff. How's that going to work? Well, it looks like it's all together, right? But then we have the side stuff of you have Black Widow, you have Hawkeye, you have Moon Knight, which Moon Knight, okay, yes, could tie into Blade because it's supernatural, but Moon Knight's also a street crime fighter. So I've always wondered, it's like with the street people, is it going to be just Thunderbolts and that's the idea? Or is there something more? I would love it still if there is like I shouldn't say low stakes, but low stakes in a way where I would love if there's multiple shows or a movie about characters dealing with what a Daredevil will have to be like a Kingpin, crime, weapons, drug dealing, stuff like that. But it doesn't have to be, oh, and Kingpin also has this thing that's going to destroy New York. Just like, no, this guy's ruining the city. Now, the MCU, lots of stakes are always quite big. Like, you even look at WandaVision where it's like, oh, it's a small story. It is, but she took over whole city, right, and everything like that. But it does make sense. And Clay brings up as far as Cox, why not Vincent? I think No Way Home is such a tipping point to be like, what are we going to get? Because also we think Toby and we think Andrew. Hopefully we'll see that in a trailer. But I think if Cox is in this, and I do believe these reports and everything like that, but if he is in this, that is the official, well, they did it. You know, we talked about this with Spider-Man Far From Home. The second J.K. Simmons was in that, it was like that changed everything for me. Like, oh, they could cast whoever they want, really, you know, because they just brought him back to be Jonah. So it's the same thing. If Charlie Cox gets confirmed, whether it's before the movie or in the movie, it looks like we can play with those characters in those worlds. The only thing is, people keep bringing him up as like we got to have him back. I do agree with that. I think he's a must if you can. I just wonder if you can get that same characterization you did with the Daredevil show. And this is the thing we still haven't got answered yet. Is Charlie Cox playing just a new Daredevil, but it's the same actor, or is he playing his Daredevil? Do we have his baggage, right? So the same thing with this Kingpin. Do we have his baggage? Do we have his version of Vanessa? Is he kind of this big man child, or is it just a new version of Kingpin with him playing him? I don't know. It's very difficult to say. Once again, we'll know from Spider-Man Far From Home, maybe, or No Way Home. Maybe that's what this whole multiverse stuff is. And sure, again, I want it. You asked me, hey, we got Kingpin. Can we get Vincent? Yeah, absolutely. And he'd be a great street level villain. If you want to have the Hawkeyes of the world, the Moon Knights of the world, Daredevil when he gets his own show, stuff like that. She-Hulk even. He could play a big bad for a lot of people, but it's just it's just that big hang up of what version is it? You know, is it that one he originated, or is it something new? And that we won't know until hopefully December. But
yeah, a part of me, I mean, again, like, to preface, like, I haven't finished Daredevil, so I don't know what his character like evolves like throughout the show, or like how his like, does he change much? You can spoil it.
Like, I won't say like he changes mostly in season 1 from being to kind of like, oh, I'm trying to save the city, to just accepting like I'm a criminal and this is life. The only thing that really changes is his public persona, as far as more people know about Wilson Fisk as the Kingpin. But that's the thing. So let's say Kingpin is Hawkeye, right? Does everyone know, hey, Wilson Fisk is a bad guy, or do they do that route again of Wilson Fisk and the Kingpin? We don't know they're the same people, because in Daredevil, the show, they do establish they are the same people. The public knows that. Everyone finds out he was the Kingpin. So I think that's kind of the fun with Kingpin, though, is people not knowing Wilson Fisk is Kingpin for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But if they bring that over, well, that's gone. He's already Kingpin. So that's where I think we're gonna get them playing. I still wonder if it's going to be they're playing versions where it won't even matter. Like, that backstory could be true or it could not be true, but we're just not going to acknowledge it and move forward. So, but he was left in a place where the public knew he was Kingpin.
Yeah, because I could see the MCU like wanting to do their own thing, like not have basically what a live action Super Collider. See how that looks. See what the budget looks like. Like I could see them wanting to do their own version of it, but like maybe hint at something like from the Daredevil show, so that like the fans of the Daredevil show are like, oh, okay, like they're not completely just retconning all of that we saw, but they're still leaving it so his character can go a certain way if, I don't know, they need this type of villain in this type of movie down the line. I personally want them. I mean, I'm such a big fan of like the charismatic like guy on like it like by day, and then just like the villain at night, which is pretty much like what his character is. I'm thinking also like Lex Luthor, where he's just like very charismatic with like the people, but then like behind the scenes he is like being really like just dark and grimy and a really bad guy. But I guess if they're taking the version from Daredevil, like you just said, like it's pretty much all in one there. But I still think the MCU would want to do something fresh, but I think they'll just do it really cleverly, where it'll be an easy enough pill to just digest of, okay, this is the version of our character that we have here, but also leave him open to evolve down the line, whether it's we see him in like a collab movie. I don't think Avengers, but like another one of those movies that brings a bunch of characters together, and like not even have him as the main villain, just like a side guy that almost seems like he's making like a deal with our allies, and then he's just got his own plans to it. Because I just really like those types of villains. So again, I'm kind of just pulling out of my hat of things I'd want to see. But
yeah,
I don't know. I trust them. I think they're gonna have a smarter plan than what I could ever pitch. So what does he say here?
Tony says if Vincent is coming back, hopefully makes appearance of Moon Knight. Too much is going on in Spider-Man for him to be shoved in there. I agree, and I also feel
I do agree with that.
Yeah, I think Spider-Man's role in the MCU, which I don't exactly love. I think Kingpin is kind of too small for it now. Like if we're getting into Spider-Man dealing with multiple universes, I think Kingpin's someone you start off
me.
with. Yeah,
like
and
the
then
main bad. Yeah,
and then you move up, and then he says Marvel Studios rumors said he wouldn't appear in Spider-Man. Yeah, and that's been the thing where people naturally jump to, right? Because to me, I now, as I'm older, connect Kingpin and Daredevil more, but as a child and most of my teen left, I put Spider-Man and Kingpin. That's definitely because the animated series, and I just always drew those together. But it is in the MCU where it's like I don't think that makes too much sense. He could appear in another movie, but in this sort of world, I don't know. And I guess technically he is a Marvel character, like an MCU character. So they almost would be smarter not to put him in Spider-Man, because if that deal ever falls apart again, it's like, well, he's our Daredevil Moon Knight villain, like he's not Spider. So would I love to see it? Sure. Like I said, maybe, or like even Kirk was saying, in a crossover or something like that, but I don't really foresee it. But yeah, Moon Knight possibly. I think any show that takes place in New York could be a thing. Moon Knight, we don't know, because I think Moon Knight, they're filming a few other locations, and I could see it ending with him becoming the crime fighter in New York. I could see the whole show being about before that. So
yeah,
we'll see. So
that's something that I feel like I've kind of been missing in the MCU so far is, okay, we have our location in New York, but like Spider-Man's New York feels a lot different from like Doctor Strange New York or something. Like it is the same city, but because we just don't.
Oh, it was the same city, but Kirklin Patzer is gone. So S-Bub says Vincent also liked a post on Instagram that said he was going to appear in Hawkeye.
Oh my gosh.
And then unliked it. He is back. Yeah, people on Instagram are doing a great job. Like Jamie Foxx from a month ago posted that thing of like all the Spider-Man looking at the sky. He took it down. There was that. I can't remember. There was another one recently where, people need to, and not Alfred Molina, but people need to learn to watch that Instagram. It's like I try not to even spoil stuff with the podcast network or GeekVerse. Fucking people are posting Toby photos and stuff like that. And at the same time, though, there's enough evidence that I could play devil's advocate as far as he just liked it, and then he was like, "Oh no, I shouldn't do this to get the fans right up." Or it's the opposite, where he liked it thinking it was like Marvel putting it out there, and then realized, "Oh shit, it's just a rumor." So it's very tough, right? But it's kind of that it smoke, there's fire. I think once No Way Home comes out, it's actually, what were you gonna say, Kirk? And then I have a second question for you.
I think I was just pretty much like laying in how, because like a movie, they can't afford to like cast, I don't know, every New York type character in their movie, so then they just completely ignore them, so they just feel like disjointed, even though it is the same city. Whereas I feel like if you had someone like Wilson Fisk, that's just like an ominous cloud over like the city of New York, it doesn't matter if we're getting I'm assuming Moon Knight is New York as well. So like if we're getting Moon Knight
all over, but like he gets home based in New York eventually,
like many do. So like it doesn't matter if we got Daredevil, Moon Knight, I mean, Blade's going to be in there, I'm sure. Like just all these characters that are in New York. If there's just this cloud of Wilson Fisk, I feel personally it'll just make it a lot more believable that it is the same town. I know it's New York, but I don't know. I want to see like some, I don't know, like Peter Parker backpacks with like spider webs just like randomly on the wall if I'm watching like a Moon Knight thing, just like crossover things. Like you don't need the actors there just to make me feel like they're actually there.
Well, and even then, like a show something simple as Armor Wars, he could easily be the villain for that. Like I know he's not like an Iron Man villain per se, but it's like Avengers Towers and lots of Tony operations have been in New York. Maybe he's trying to buy parts that Tony had and stuff like Kingpin is one of those kind of mastermind guys that you could really put anywhere. My follow-up though, which I didn't even think about this, and I've not talked about this with anybody. As of right now, last time we did the newscast, they had confirmed that Ms. Marvel and Hawkeye are still on track to come out this year. So that's great. I'm very excited, more Marvel. The thing is, though, if he is in that, technically, because of how it got delayed, we're going to get Kingpin. We would get him first before Charlie Cox. Because this is coming out.
That's interesting, eh?
Yeah, because Spider-Man would have been out before, but now because of the delays, Hawkeye is out before. So it's almost reverse. I saying, if we see Cox, I'll know Kingpin's, possible, but it might be the other way around where we see Kingpin first. Cox is on his way. Because it's just because to me, it's like if you have Kingpin in there, it's like, well, they're bringing everybody. And I've said this before. I love Charlie Cox. I love Vincent D'Onofrio. It's tough because I understand the character and the violence, everything, but you have to bring over John Bernthal as Punisher. You just have to. I don't know, whatever you want to do, however you want to play it. He, to me, is like Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, Hugh Jackman Wolverine, Margot Robbie Harley Quinn. He is pitch perfect. Charlie Cox to me was a good cast, and then he became perfect. Same thing as Vincent D'Onofrio. John Bernthal was born to play that role, and I hope this means he gets in there. And like I said, I want even if there's like a New York, a Defenders. I don't know if they'll go that route again, but it's very interesting. So S-Bub says Ironmonger MK2 piloted by Fisk. Yeah, you never know. Fisk sure would love a suit and everything like that. No, S-Bubs, I do not want the origin story of Fisk was fired by Tony Stark. Let's not go down that route. And Tony says you could have a conversation with Justin Hammer in Armor Wars. Yeah, that's, again, like we were just saying, he could be a villain that's behind a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You dropped out again. That's like 2 weeks in a row,
I know. This time around it was my own. Well, I guess both times were my fault. But last time I tried to close a tab, my mouse just bounced over to the StreamYards tab, and then this time around, I have this back button on my mouse. I don't even know why I was holding my mouse, but I was getting excited and I clicked the back button as soon as it happened too, because I'm like on a roll and it's like.
Anything else to say on Fisk?
I guess my last thing would just be I do hope that they don't just try and force him to be a main villain. At least not right away, because I do want to see him lingering for. He's got the full Infinity armor like Ultimate Alliance 3.
So I'll ask you this with Hawkeye. Let's say, okay, he's confirmed in it. What do you think it is? Do you think he is? Because remember, people are trying to throw out with Winter Soldier of like, oh, he could be the power broker. Do you think he is he's in an episode? They introduce, hey, this is Wilson Fisk. Is he an overarching villain like a power broker, or is he an end credit tease? What do you think he would be if he were in this show?
In Hawkeye?
Yeah.
So he appears episode 5. I don't think he would be the main villain. I think he would be, especially, I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going to be happening in this Hawkeye show, but I feel like, especially just where Clint has been and like doing some like grimy deals, I could totally see him like maybe have a debt like with Wilson Fisk and then be like, ooh, like, yeah, exactly. So like he's kind of got him by the balls there, so he's going to force him to do something grimy and he doesn't want to do it, so it'll be an interesting way to like get out of it. I could totally see that being the dynamic, because I feel like episode 5 is pretty late to reveal the main villain if they were going that route, so I think it would be kind of like a side thing that would. Yeah, that's true. Like we just Loki's got the big a fucking weird show, though, and I don't think Hawkeye's gonna be anything.
It is, but I mean, like we got who was behind the timekeepers, and we got that big thing. It's just like I agree with you that I don't know if they'll go that route because we already had the Power Broker, we already had Kang, and it's the same thing as I say. Like they can't also keep doing the like mistress female who's a villain. I think what they do is you've seen the Mission Impossible movies, right?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember Vanessa Kirby in the last one?
Yep.
How they had like some dealings with her on the side, but kind of left it open. I think it could be something like that. You could even be right with like the grimy deals, but I think it would be something like, oh, hey, an episode pops up. He's in it for a little bit, just establishing him. And then it's kind of like, oh, I'll see you soon. And then moves off. Tony says bigger pop at the end credit instead of an episode villain. That's true, but the same thing, like to me, only the end credit pop would have to either be at the very end of the show or it has to set up something for an episode. And if he's just in one episode, I don't think it's an end credit pop because then it's just it feels too much like it's tacked on. But either way, much like what happened with Kang, if Kingpin is in the show, that's gonna trend like a motherfucker. That's gonna be all over. Like you will not. I don't want to hear anybody. Oh, don't tweet about spoilers. I haven't watched it. Stay off fucking social media for a few hours. Just log out your Twitter. I don't want to hear it. People always go, oh well, people, and I don't do this. I wait a week to tweet about spoilers, but people just feel the need after they watch the episode to tweet about and tweet spoilers. They can't just wait. You can't just wait to be off of social media for a little bit. Like it's the exact same way, dude or dudette. So it's just like, please, like we've done this so many times. Like if Hawkeye happens and Kingpin's in this, it'll be all over. I don't want to hear anyone complain. Well, I was gonna watch Hawkeye and be pretty excited, but now I know.
Now I don't even have to watch it.
Yeah, it's a shit show. Restore the Snyderverse, but no.
So is GV. You guys suck.
Yeah, we hate you. No, it's gonna be interesting. Either I'm not getting hyped by it because there might be some sourcing, but it's still just a Reddit user with a few other things and everything like that. So Yeah, we'll see. Anything else?
S-Bubs, Kingpin gets green screen into a scene after they got the rights back from Netflix.
Yeah, I don't think they did that. That's like I said, like I don't want to feel completely tacked on, because then if it was, it's like, well, just wait till the next season then, or a different show to introduce him. I don't want it to be like he has nothing to do with the plot and he's just there. As much as it'd be cool to see him, but
something with all of this like inclusion of the Netflix Marvel stuff. I mean, first of all, it's just awesome that it's happening. I guess it's not happening. It's rumors, but nevertheless, I think that a smart way to handle it is to not just completely retcon those shows, because those shows they got a lot of quality to them. I haven't finished any of them, but I think I've seen all of them at least a little bit, except for Jessica Jones, and I liked everything that I saw. Like, it was just like the production value was great, and like all the characters were great. So I think even if they just like Easter egg it or like hint at it, and even then Easter egging, I feel like that would be like, oh, it's completely retcon, but this is fun for if you've seen the show. I still want it to have some meaning. Now again, I don't know exactly how those shows end, so I don't know how they would fit into the MCU nicely, but
well, the only con though, as far as having them not retconned, is they don't own those shows. Those shows are on Netflix, right? So that's the only thing that tips me to like
they couldn't really,
they may mention some stuff, but I think I think they may hint at some stuff, but I don't think they can physically even really talk about things. Maybe perhaps like I think you can hint. So we'll see. And even then, maybe they just don't want people going over there to watch other stuff. Disney Plus was announced, then Netflix canceled all these shows. Some of them deserve to be canceled, some didn't, Daredevil specifically, but here we are. So yeah, we'll see. We're gonna get these answers hopefully this year, at least with Hawkeye we will, because I don't think that'll get delayed. So we're gonna take our first ad break, and we still got tons to talk about, so we'll be right back. All right, we are back. So Kirklin, I wanted to say why my name is Mr. Pink, because
I've been waiting.
You know what this is? This is the world's tiniest violin, because Kirklin before this cast was like, he was like those Twitter people, I gotta watch the Dune trailer, and I even said, fine, I'll talk about it. Don't worry about it.
Let me pull up the transcripts. I feel like there was more sass in what you said.
Hear our opinions on the news, on the trailers, and he goes, I don't know if I can watch this one. It's going to show everything. We pick one movie a year, bub. One movie a year not to watch trailer, and that was Last Night in Soho. But no, he decides going on his own, but then he watches it. He's like, see, I shouldn't have watched it. Even though I said, hey, don't watch it. It's fine. I'll talk about it without spoiling something. And you got your transcripts. You want to defend yourself?
I don't think so, but I will talk about it. You didn't tell me not to watch it, and then I watched it because I knew you'd make a big deal about it. You'd be spoiling everything anyways.
I wouldn't be.
And then a part of me is like, okay, well, like maybe they won't show a lot, but I personally thought I saw a lot, and it's not like it's spoiled it's not like it spoiled anything plot wise. It just showed a lot of things plot wise, and it showed a lot of cool effects and stuff, which personally, before I watched this trailer, I'm like, well, I kind of want to just see that in the movie, so that when I'm watching the movie, it's like, oh, did you see that? And then I'm reacting crazily, and then you are like, yeah, I saw it like months ago, and then like you're missing out on like that, just popping your cherry on the great effects. And now I just saw it in the trailer on my handheld.
But here's the thing, other than maybe a few trailers, maybe a few of these shots you'll remember in the moment, I feel like by time in 3 months from now, you will forget this trailer.
I will 100% forget everything. I'll forget this conversation probably.
Yes, that's why you're making a big deal. And like, it's not that big a deal. And because here's the thing for me, in the Dune trailer, the teaser we got before, it all looked really cool, but I couldn't tell you what the fucking plot is. I'm somebody that doesn't know anything. So please remember that review we got months ago that said, this is a geek podcast and no one's read Dune? 1 star. Please. I've not read the book. It's just something I'm very interested, as I like the cast. I love the director. So I don't know the plot, but at least this to me gave me the plot as far as this character, Paul, is having visions and people are hunting his family one by one. I had heard that because of other people talking about that. I know that read Dune and whatnot, but I think it gave enough. And just the biggest thing is for me, just like the world that Denis can do. He did this with Blade Runner 2049, but what he created with this, I was already excited, but this just got me so much more excited. I can't wait to see it all. I can't wait to see how this goes down. I love this. We've talked about before, this cast is stacked, but just seeing them all together actually is fantastic. I didn't even know Oscar Isaac was playing his dad, so that's awesome. I don't think there's a big spoiler, Kirklin, maybe for you it was, but for me, it's like these stuff get me more excited. And knowing Denis, this is why for me, if you watch Blade Runner 2049 trailers and then you watch the movie, which you have not, there's so much they hold back in those trailers, even to the point where people complained, oh, they should have showed more. So that's why I'm not too worried, because I think he knows exactly. And sometimes marketing teams, the directors don't even get to pick, but I think they know enough to hold back. Especially, I think this movie is gonna be like over 2.5 hours, so there's lots of footage that is gonna be in this movie. So I thought it was a fantastic trailer. Everything looked great, except maybe the ending. I know people have brought up that point where he's in the armor. Yeah, he doesn't look the greatest, but oh well, whatever. But it's just the scale of it, it's the scope, and man, I want this to be a hit because I know they want to make a second. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna get that second one. I hope they've secretly filmed it back to back. But
yeah. So like I thought again, like the trailer, it was a beautiful trailer. Like don't get me wrong, it was a great trailer. I just again. Going back to my point, I feel like I was already so hyped for the movie that I just didn't have to see it, and a part of me was like, "Hey, I know I don't have to. I'm a grown ass man. I don't have to do anything Travis tells me to do."
I didn't tell him to do it. I didn't tell him once.
I'm like, what if there's one specific thing that like Travis really wants to talk to me about, and then we'll be missing on some great back and forth dialogue. So. And then I don't know. I was sitting on the can. I'm like, what else am I gonna do here? So I put on the Dune trailer, and it was just. It was a good reminder of what the scale of this movie is going to be. Mm-hmm. And there was certain moments when they showed like one, I think it was like the giant like circle like ship thing just like landing, and then it zoomed out on it. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is going to be awesome. And this was like a good reminder for like Dave Bautista's character. Is this the first interpretation of him?
Well, I think we've seen posters. We saw him in a glimpse, but like to me, as far as this trailer goes, he's the villain of this, right? That's what I'm guessing, or a villain in this movie, and that's really exciting to me because I think Bautista's a goddamn really good actor. He's getting better and better every time. So the fact that, especially, it's so funny because I can't. Have you even seen the first Blade Runner, like from the 80s, 70s?
No, I haven't.
What the fuck was the date on that Blade Runner? I'll check, but
like 1979. That's my just guess off the top of the head.
Blade Runner 1982. So that's why it's on that cusp. But anyway, so he was in a role in 2049. Yeah, that's what the fuck it is. The new Blade Runner, Denis directed the sequel. He tried to audition for this role, and Denis was like, I just don't think you're right for it. Like I just don't see you in it. He's like, well, just let me try. And they did it, and then he loved him and he got it. And it's legitimately only maybe a 2-minute role, but the acting in it is so well done. And clearly, to me, that's why I like if he is the villain or one of the villains, because it showed that Denis really thought, okay, he can do good. Let me put him as the bad guy or a bad guy, because Dave Bautista can be imposing, and I think he can play a really just, I feel, more darker, disturbing character. I don't know what this character is, but if this guy is supposed to be like an equivalent of maybe like a Vader or something like that, where it's just his presence is intimidating, Bautista can do that, and that's what I like about that.
Yeah, what I got from it was like, again, he's just like all white or something. I'm like, this just seems like a really edgy Drax that's like not comedic whatsoever. I'm sure he's gonna be something a little bit more than just a dark Drax, but
Jax the Conqueror.
Jax the Conqueror. Yeah, I don't know.
From the book.
I think he just looks really menacing, and again, like I knew he was kind of a villainous character. For one, he just looked really mean, and I think at one point, like, what's Timothée Chalamet's character name? Paul. So I think he's conversing with like Josh Brolin. Don't know his name in the movie, but they're just talking about him, and he's like basically just like a monster. So like again, he kind of feels like the antagonist in that situation. But I feel like there'll be quite a few factors in play in this movie. And again, if you're listening to this and you've like read the book and you're like, these idiots don't even know what's going to happen in this movie, which we don't. I found out that Dune is actually on Audible, which I have an Audible subscription. So I'm going to listen to it after the movie, because I don't want to do that thing where it's like you read or listen to the book and you're like, oh, it's amazing. And then you get into the movie, you're like, oh, that's not quite what the book was like. I want to fill in those gaps after I've seen this film, because I'm just really, really excited to see this, just on the scale, the actors, everything.
So we won't do it then, because then maybe we'll do it after. But there is one Dune movie out there. But if we want to stay blind, we could do it after this week, because December will already be busy. So I don't got to worry about, do we need content? We'll have, but okay, I'm done to do it after. But yeah, that is like another one from the 80s and stuff like that. Sting is in it and stuff. But yeah, it's known for being like quite cheesy and quite like, it was ahead of its time as far as not being good, just like they couldn't do it back then. But I'm really excited. This is going to be day one for me. I'll definitely be seeing this in the theaters. I know it's on HBO Max still as right now, but this is a theater one, because the theater experience I had with Blade Runner 2049, just like the music and the score and just like the sounds of that movie. Oh my God. One of my favorite experiences. Like I said, I'm always kind of mad Logan came out that year, because I had to give Logan the win over Blade Runner, but Blade Runner was like a solid like 1B.
I thought you were talking about your daughter at first. I'm like, I'm so mad that she came out that year.
Do that. You do that every time now. I know it's tough, but like I'll say Logan the movie, but like, yeah, that movie is just a piece. And Denis is just so good. Like I said, I don't know how this is going to do to warrant more. HBO just announced they're doing a TV show, which Denis will do some pilots, but it's just tough as far as I don't know what I think the good thing about this trailer, though, to me, made it feel more mainstream. I think this was a good GA trailer to establish the world, some characters. Yeah, and I know this was a trending thing, and sure, this is a different conversation, but people are like, this is what Star Wars should have been. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I definitely prefer more of the darker stuff. So like, if they made like a Knights of the Republic, I'd want this. But I also thought that Star Wars with JJ started off really good, and I think we were off to a good foot, and I still like stuff in there. But I think it is that kind of equivalent of a massive world, and I just hope, I'm not really worried about liking or loving it, because he's always put out quality, but I just hope people flock out to see it. But October's tough. I think when we were talking about October on that afternoon, there was so much. Like, I know there's just Halloween Kills, but there's some other stuff too. It's like Last Sign Soho. They're all smaller, but even the week after, I think first week of November is like Ghostbusters. Like that's going to be the issue. Like, it's a good and bad thing. It's good for us, but for box office, because that backlog, there's going to be so many movies coming out like boom, 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 like within a week of each other. So there's going to be no like, oh, this movie has a couple weeks to itself. It's like, no, Dune comes out and it's like 2 weeks later, Ghostbusters. You know, it's going to be very interesting to watch the box office these next few months.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think this will be like, because you could argue, I guess, Black Widow is like a big return to movie like film, but I feel like because this one isn't a comic book movie, it's with the amount of like big names that are in this movie and the scale of it, like it just feels like it's going to be the big return to theaters, like theatrical experience. Like if you're not seeing this in theaters, you are missing out. That's just personally what I got from the trailers. And like, even like I was talking to Shay, I'm like, what movie are you like really excited to see in theater? And like even her, like she's at Dune right away. And again, might be Timothée Chalamet. It might be just maybe she has some experience like in the past, but I think just like that one teaser, like that was enough to like again get. I feel like she's more GA than, you know, definitely more so than I am, and she was really excited for it. Which I'm not sure if she's seen the latest trailer, but I definitely agree with you that this trailer was a lot more for the
make her watch it right now. No,
absolutely. Because no, I 100% agree with your point though that this one, it is a necessary trailer. I don't have anything against the trailer. It's just like I knew that I was seeing this movie. So again, when it's a movie that I'm really excited for, I do want to go in as blind as possible. But of course, when you're doing a podcast reporting on these things, you gotta know all the deets. So.
For the people, you know, yeah. And my boy in that trailer, Javier Bardem's in there too, which is great. So it's always great
really?
to see him.
I missed
him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think he just has a quick glance, but I was just trying to see. I wonder if this movie's been rated yet. Because that's what I was going to ask you though. Because I feel like there's always this it says PG-13. Okay, so that makes sense. So that helps it. There's always this argument, right, of like, oh, there's no box office stars, it's IP or like combining stars, and I believe that to an extent. I think people like seeing a bunch of stars together, or they like seeing a star paired with a IP. You know, obviously it didn't work out for Randy Golding this week with Snake Eyes, but I just think that's because I honestly think people just don't really care about G.I. Joe anymore. Like that movie did not do well this weekend. Old beat it, so I just think that. It's just like, yeah, old. Yeah, it did. It beat it. Old, I think, made 16, 17 million, and Snake Eyes made 13 million.
Go check out our review to see how we felt about that one.
Oh, yeah. Check it. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm seeing Green Knight this week. Check out Old. Check out Taylor Snake Eyes review. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because two things. One, because Chalamet and Zendaya, I feel like, are two very popular, like, you know, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, sort of like young people really like them. But it's like, do they really pull? You know, like, are people really going to see them for that? And same thing with Dune, because you're saying like it's a big back to movies, but so I'll give you this example: Fast and Furious opening weekend 70 million, and you know some people always go, you shouldn't judge a movie by its box office, like for what it is. Oh, I fucking hate those people. You can distinguish between like, yeah, I love the movie, I like it, but then talk about the business side of it too. Some people just go, you shouldn't measure of how much you like a movie. No, just grow up. What are you, 5? But anyway, so. Fast and Furious had a 70 million opening, and then Black Widow had 80 million. Do you think it passes any of those?
Sorry, say those two again.
F9 70, Black Widow 80.
I want to believe it'll pass that. If I had to put my chips anywhere, I honestly, yeah, I'll put it on Dune. I think it's gonna surpass that. Yeah, that's my hope and guess.
I was talking about this with GA in the chat a few weeks ago. Do you think, so you think Dune, but do you think Shang-Chi or Eternals will make the same as Black Widow as far as 80 million opening weekend?
I don't think so. No, I think the big thing with Black Widow is it's a returning character that, like, even majority of GA would like know, okay, yeah, she's been in it for a long time. I don't know where we're at in the movies, but like I remember her in Iron Man 2 and like back in the day, you know. So I feel like that's a big moment. And maybe just a lot of Stranger Things fans. They saw like David Harbour. Holy shit! Okay, that's cool. But I don't know. I feel like there's a couple elements that came into play on what made that one pretty special. Even if you're not like a main or a hardcore MCU loyalist or follower of comic book films.
Yeah, I don't think Eternals. I think Shang-Chi all depends on the word of mouth, because they could have that Black Panther effect where it just hits and it just goes and goes. And Dylan mustn't chat the boys, but yeah, Kirklin took that away quick. He's showed Kirklin, Dylan, then take it back. But no, I think Shang-Chi has a chance if it gets that good word of mouth. I am on the other spectrum of Dune. I'm thinking
Doom with The Rock. They're rebooting that series.
Yeah, that he's the big villain in this. No, I think that I don't think it's gonna. I'm seeing, in my opinion, like 60 million or lower, and I'm being generous. I think the best hope that it has to be a success is if you go back and you look at Avatar's success. Avatar opening weekend came out, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is kind of a bust." It made I think 43 million or something like that. It just was like, oh, it did fine, but not that great. But then it just kept making money and kept making money, everything like that. And I think that that's what Dune's chance is, that even if it doesn't open that high, is the word of mouth can keep it strong and keep it going. You do got to remember, though, that there is many Americans that can watch it at home on HBO Max if that sticks, because Denis has been fighting that since day one. And even a few weeks, or I think it was last month, there was a report that, oh, they took it away. It's going to be theaters only. But then it went back to being HBO Max as well. So it's very tough, but I think that it will have a good word of mouth and maybe build then. But I think that it's not going to open as big as those. But maybe sometimes movies just hit and they got that hype. It just, do people, same thing like S-Bubs, like G.I. Joe's a dead movie franchise. Do people care about Dune? I think this trailer will make them. I think the cast will. But at the end of the day, if they look at it and they go, not for me, then it's not for them. The same thing too. What if they're spending all this money on all these other movies because they're getting, hit with all these movies that have been delayed, and then they go, I could skip that one, because my thing is, it's weird. They're like bizarro versions of each other, but Christopher Nolan and Denis to me are very similar. Christopher Nolan, when his name's on something, hit after hit after hit. Blade Runner 2049, to me, one of the best movies last decade. It bombed, big time bombed. They spent so much money on it, and it not even broke even. It lost some tons of money. And that's where I just one or two is his style. I don't know if it's too dense or too serious for the mainstream. And that's why everyone's going to shit on me, but I just feel like he should have, even if it's a cop-out, done a superhero film or something bigger and then got his name out there and then done something like this, because that's the reason why people want to go see Inception and Interstellar and Dunkirk, because every time a movie comes out, it's like from the director of The Dark Knight, and then it's like, oh, I've seen The Dark Knight, where Denis, from the director of Blade Runner 2049, The Bomb, Prisoners, and Sicario, and you haven't even seen 2 out of 3 of those, right? So it's like, actually, you haven't seen any of them. You haven't seen Blade Runner, Sicario, or Prisoners. So that's what I mean.
Sicario?
Have you seen Sicario?
Yeah, with Emily Blunt.
Okay, so there you go. So 1 out of 3. And that's not an insult. I'm just saying, with Nolan, he's this guy that you see everything. It's an event. And I feel like that's with everybody. I feel like everyone goes, when there's an old movie, I got to go see it. Denis does not have that pull yet. So hopefully this is the one.
I really hope it's the one.
Yeah. On the talk we had earlier, Tony says, nope, I can see Shang-Chi hitting it a bit more than half than what Black Widow got. Eternals will get half Black Widow got most. I'm not agreeing to half, because half you're saying what? You're saying Shang-Chi would get 40 million opening weekend? I think at least 60 million for Shang-Chi. Eternals, I just don't know, because I just, like, even myself as a Marvel fan, I'm not excited for that. I wasn't excited for that before the trailer, and then once I saw the trailer, I went, meh. If you were to tell me I'd have to wait longer to see Eternals, I'd be fine. I wouldn't be crying over it. And I'm sure. And at the same point, though, I was always said the same thing about Black Widow. And I said, but I bet that end credit's going to be really good. And in my opinion, I now know I could have missed Black Widow, because that end credit really was nothing that special. So Eternals might not have anything like that. So I won't agree on them not even getting like half of Black Widow or that. I think they can get 40 plus. I think they can get to it, you know?
Yeah, I think like just being like, what was in recent memory, like what was just like a big bomb MCU like related film?
The biggest bomb of the MCU would be Incredible Hulk all the way back to 2008, where that underperformed.
See, but like that was so long ago now. So like basically since
you could say like the Ant-Man movies, they make less than other MCU movies, but they don't.
You gotta imagine the budget's not crazy on though. Like in comparison to like what the big ones are. Maybe I should just pull it up. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say pull it up or whatnot, but like searching Ant-Man 1 and Ant-Man 2, they're as like more modest hits, but still they're making money. They know like they wouldn't have made a third one and stuff like that. Hulk was surprisingly really low when you look at it, but MCU is yet to have a bomb. Technically, if you were to look at Black Widow, that's probably the only project that's really like lost some money or broke even, but you get a big asterisk by that because of COVID, right? And everything like that. So
yeah. This is pretty crazy to me, actually. So Ant-Man 1 says budget 130 to 169 million, and then it made 519 million.
Oh yeah, so definitely made a profit.
And then
you got to double the budget.
Oh, is that the rule?
Well, usually, for like advertising and marketing or anything like that. But even if you double it, it made a profit. So
so then the second one was pretty similar budget, 130 million to 195 million, and it made 622 million.
Oh yeah,
US
so
dollars.
That's the same thing, and those are more like considered the modest hit of the MCU, and that's still some people would kill to have success like that. So
no, absolutely. So yeah, I feel like just since it's like this is the next big MCU thing, people are like, okay, well, I got to get ready for this. I've been a part of it for this many movies. I don't think I'm backing out now. Who knows? Maybe there is certain people that are like, Thanos is gone, Tony Stark's gone. Maybe this is where I just kick the bucket on MCU, but that must be a really small population.
I think it is after Black Widow, and then plus the show's been doing so well. So and last thing, Black Widow, it's like, because it has like less money because of COVID, but it's like it's the biggest movie of COVID so far, right? As far as the opening and stuff. F9 still has made more, but that's because F9's open in China, where Black Widow isn't yet. So there you go. Anything else on Dune?
No, just really, really hope it does well, and I want to see more of it.
Oh, you want to see? Oh, there'll probably be another trailer if you want to see more.
I'm never. Here first, folks. I'm not watching any more trailers.
There you go. No more trailer reviews. So here's the interesting one, because you have not watched the last season. So did you watch the Dexter trailer?
I absolutely did.
What are your feelings about this? Because obviously you've not seen the final season, but you know how it ended, and you said that was kind of a jump out for you. So is this going to get you to, I don't know, watch the last season, but this is going to get you to check out the show? They officially announced this is coming out November 7th. It's called Dexter New Blood, which is like a good / kind of lame, easy title, but whatever, they did it. So yeah, it's going to be dropping every Sunday, 10 episodes. Is this, what does this do for you? I'm very curious.
Yeah, so I just watched the trailer today. I haven't been following the news too closely of just like what this show is supposed to be, other than kind of what you said here and there. And I really, really like this trailer, actually. I think it got me really excited because it just really much reminded me of like early Dexter days when he doesn't have all this baggage, whether it's like Rita was her name, right? Mm-hmm. His wife. Were they married? I can't even remember.
Oh yeah,
it's been so long. Yeah, okay. And then like Benjamin. No. Harrison. There you go. Harrison. So like, again, these factors, like they're just new, like, I don't know, like variables that he has to handle, where I like the idea that he's just a guy that owns, a hunting store, a lot of dangerous things in there. Got to imagine there's a lot of kooky characters that comes in. Yeah, that was a kind of a funny scene. So I think it's just got me really excited because it's a new location. It's a new, I'm assuming it's going to be a new cast and crew. I don't know who's remaining from the end of the show. I know the show ends. I haven't seen the last 2 seasons, and I probably won't ever. I'll probably just like listen to your retro, just to like refresh my memory of where the show was, because it has been.
There you go.
I don't think I've seen it since like high school. Honestly, it's been a long time. So, but yeah, no, I love Dexter for a lot of people did for like a huge chunk of the show. And what I was seeing from this trailer really much reminded me of those early days. And he kind of seems like, I don't want to say wacky, but he just seems less serious, like, because he's just like, maybe it's supposed to play in that, like it's going to be more of a fun return to Dexter, as opposed to like, oh, I'm in love with my sister now, and I have
he was never in love with his sister. Come on,
they weren't. Okay, what? It's been so long. It's been
in real life. They were married. In the show, they tried to do some fucking stupid storyline where she was falling for Dexter.
Oh, okay,
yeah. And the only thing that snapped her out of it was finding out he was a killer, which I still don't understand. But yeah, I will be retro. Thank goodness, because I was getting worried. But now they gave me November 7th. Like, oh, I can do that. I'm at the end of season 2 right now. So, yeah,
Are you doing the whole thing?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh
those,
yeah,
I'll be interested in those later ones for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm gonna be doing the whole thing.
Respect.
I owe it to the show, because at one point in my life, this was my favorite show of all time. Even this weekend, again, I was giddy when they put a 45-minute Comic-Con at home, or Comic-Con at home panel with him and some of the writers and whatnot. You don't learn much. It's just a bunch of bullshit answers, but I just was so hyped because it got me back to, those earlier seasons where I remember every Sunday just that rush, like, oh my goodness, a new Dexter, what's going to happen? And I'll talk about more in the retro, but I just like the show was just such a change of pace, and was so revolutionary for TV, and it had that type of wow, what am I sort of watching factor. Obviously, we've talked about this, I think, memed about this since the podcast started to now, but yeah, ending's disappointing. They even said this in in that panel, like to Michael C. Hall's face and other people, like, oh yeah, lots of fans were disappointed and everything. So what surprised me is I knew we were in a new location, but I was always like, and I thought same thing. I think first episode, it's going to be a lot of like him trying not to kill. And I think the episode will end with him taking a life. And then we go off from that point. And I think they could be hiding it, but like a lot of this trailer really confirmed to me. I was like, wow, we are going to be staying in this location quite a bit. Like I didn't know if it would be like, it'd be starting here and then he'd be back to Miami, or if he would just be back to somewhere else. I don't know. And it's interesting because he faked his own death. He's kind of on the run, and it's like, what is the dynamics with this town? And it's so funny. It looks like he is like has a girlfriend, and she is like a sheriff deputy or something like that. And it's just like, it's classic Dexter serial killer stuff where it's like he doesn't want to get caught, but he has blood slides in his house. It's like he doesn't want people to find out who he is, but he's dating like the town sheriff. It's like you would think to stay away from that person. They might be smarter, might have some information. So I think that cat and mouse game is going to be fun as far as him trying to hide his identity or whatnot, because he hints about it in the trailer. And I think this is, I don't know if it'll have that, but I kind of want like a Logan, the film aesthetic feel to it, where it's just like he's by himself, he's kind of working through some things, and that's what this looks. There's other characters, and he's smiling, so he's definitely more happy than what Wolverine was. But I'm excited because, you lose all the baggage, but with the show, when it went on for 8 seasons, that's what ends up happening, right? You got to add certain things and everything like that. And we've said this before. Clyde Phillips, he did season 1 to 4. Those were the best, and he's back. So I just want this show that had such a place in my heart to have a better ending so I can look back on it fondly. Because I do watching it again right now has been so great, because I watched it, I think maybe 4 years ago, because I'd watched it with Emily because she'd never seen the whole thing, so we watched it, but then I took a break in because that finale is just awful. But rewatching these earlier seasons, man, I just remind of how good the show was, how smart it was, how funny it was, how clever it was, and just why I loved it so much and loved the character of Dexter. And I want to get back that point, because being in Dexter's head, that character, one of my favorite characters of all time. It's one of the few books I've read, so the trailer looked really good. I'm just surprised. Yeah, I had the first 4 books. I stopped after a while because they much like the show went downhill. But like, I'm looking forward to this. I'm excited to see what they do. And like, what is the inciting incident for him killing? Is it just someone being bad? Is he protecting his identity? I just think there's lots of fun things they can do with this.
Yeah, because like that was like at least what I got from the trailer. It's like you can run from your past, but blah blah blah. Like something will, like bring it back. And then I loved how the trailer ended with just like the blood on the snow, and then it's just like he starts like covering it up. Oh, it just looks so good. And there was so many like just really really artsy and like fun shots, whether it was him with like that big like kitchen knife, and then it just like the shine like goes on his eyes, and it's just like, oh man, like I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, because like you mentioned, like I remember, like I think I was in like grade 10 or something when I first saw like Dexter for the first time, and that first season, holy shit, I couldn't believe what I was watching. Like I just got so engulfed into it, and I want to have that feeling back for sure, because it was, I mean, it's probably the same thing with you and many others out there. Like it was a show that I loved, and then when it was going down, it was just like, I want to really love this. So then it's like I think it was one of those situations where I'd wait like months to like watch the next season, and then just like kind of forget where it was, and then be like, oh, okay, let's give it another try. And then I don't remember how far I got into. Again, it was the second last season. I definitely never started the last season. It was like a few episodes into the second one. I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I think I'll just finish right here. And I don't know if I was planning to finish it one day, but it just never happened. And I want to just get sparked back into the Dexter magic, because it was Ice Truck Killer, man. That was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting because I love the way they're kind of playing him killing as almost like in a drug addiction, right? And that's kind of like what it is. But like even we saw that trailer months ago when everyone's like, "Hi, Jimbo," all this stuff, and he like looks at the window and he sees a knife and he just starts to like almost like gloss over and like drool, but then he like snaps at it. And that's what this is. It's gonna be very interesting to see him kind of deal with that, and it's putting the character in a fun place, because again, I said this is him trying to live a normal life while trying to like, obviously, Deb dies in last season, so it's like he's trying to like atone for that and put himself in some self exile. And I had another, I thought, really good point, but I'll have to save it for another day, I guess. I had it, and then I was thinking about Ice Truck Killer and was gone, so that was your fault. But no, I'm excited to see where we end up. Oh man, I thought I had something really good to bring up. But anything else on Dexter?
I'm excited to see. I think you shouted him out again. I'm gonna try and just delay here in case that idea gets sparked back in your mind. I forget the actor's name, but it was a dude. It seemed like they were at like a crime scene, and then there was a guy standing next to Dexter. Yeah, Clancy Brown. So I'm really excited to see that dynamic, because was that the character that you said seems like he's some sort of cop or something?
Well, no, the cop is the one he's dating. They've described him.
Oh right, yes, right.
Yeah,
right.
They described Clancy Brown as the villain or main antagonist. But I would love if the villain and antagonist wasn't actually a bad person. If it was just this guy who's found out that Dexter's Dexter, and then he's trying to like expose him. Like he's Dexter. They should treat Dexter as a bad person, because he is, in a sense,
Yeah.
So
no, yeah, because like that's something that in the original Dexter, you are rooting for him, and then he's like doing these dark things, but then you're just kind of telling yourself like, well, he's killing bad people, right? So he is a good guy, but definitely is I don't know, balancing on the morality line.
Yeah, no, I didn't think of that.
Didn't come back.
So,
okay.
No,
I tried to delay a little bit.
So annoying, because it's something about the addiction and stuff like that. But oh well.
Passenger. I just love when they said that term again. I feel like I kind of forgot about it.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna get that. We're gonna get Harry and whatnot. It's gonna be slowly get there and everything. But I'm very excited for November 7th. It's been fun rewatching it so far. So, and maybe one day I'll think of that point. So we're going to take our second ad break, and then we got a few more shows to talk about, some Superman news, and a little bit more. So we'll be right back. All right, Kirklin, Army of Thieves. I want to ask you this question. Did you watch this trailer? Yes?
Yes, I did.
So I want to ask you this question. Did you like Army of Dead enough to watch this movie? Because this is the prequel to Army of Dead, obviously. This is that character, which is fun because that guy who played that character directed this movie as well. There's some hint of the zombie apocalypse in this, but it seems like it's more about the heist. So does this interest as far as you as gonna check it out, or is this a skip it?
Yeah, so there's a few like factors that like come into play when I'm like deciding on because if it was like in theaters or something, it'd be like, do I want to go out of the way to see it? Yeah, but like since it's on Netflix, like it just makes it so easy. So I could literally just put it on anytime. I liked Army of the Dead enough that I will check this out, because there was a lot of things that we were talking about on the review when it's like, why do they even show this about like multiple or like a multiverse type thing or like multiple people robbing this bank if they're just never going to talk about it? You know, I guess we are going to be talking about it a bit. And what I saw in the trailer, like sorry, I'm kind of bouncing around here, but like the main character in this, the safecracker type guy, I didn't love him in the first movie. I didn't hate him in the first movie. I thought he was just okay. I think a lot of his like humor and stuff just didn't quite work with me, but just seeing him in this trailer with a lot of the other cast members, I forget the female's name, but she was in Game of Thrones and I really liked her in Game of Thrones. I forget her name. Maybe you'll say it.
No, I don't know her name. Okay, I know her, but I don't know her name.
Yeah, no, I really liked her in Game of Thrones, and what I saw of her in this trailer was just it did get me excited. Actually, I think whether it was everyone's like outfits, the fact it's just like a heist movie. I'm pretty easy when it comes to heist movies. I think they're fun, and just a lot of like fun action type things. Again, like I think all the humor just kind of, I don't it didn't make me laugh or anything. I was more of just in the trailer for like, okay, I know this world and I am interested in seeing it expanded a little bit. And the fact that this is like a prequel doesn't take anything away from it for me. And again, like I said before, a big like asterisk on my decision on this is that it's just Netflix, and I have Netflix, so I know it's just going to be easily available. I don't have to go out of my way to buy it or anything like that. And Netflix doesn't have Premier Access. I don't think they'll ever have Premier Access, so
no,
it's pretty easy to just one night sit down and watch this. And yeah,
I'm kind of on the opposite side. That's why I guess I phrased the question that way, where I like the trailers seem fine, but I think unless, like you said, I'm on like a, oh yeah, I'll watch this, everything like this. It just didn't hook me enough. It didn't hook me enough. Like, am I going to invest an hour and a half of my time with this? So maybe it depends when it comes out. If I hear lots of good things, I'll maybe check it out. And I liked that character. I think he was maybe one of my more favorite ones, but just nothing. I think it's just more the aftertaste of Army of the Dead where I really liked it. But even like Army of the Dead 2, it's like when that comes, like, okay, I will check that one out. But it's like, do I need the Army of the Dead universe? Not necessarily. I don't know, but if it gets enough word of mouth, I'll check it out. We'll see. And Snyder, now they announced they're doing Army of the Dead 2 with him. They announced they're doing that, and he's directing it. So
yeah, if you're sorry, did they have a release date on this one?
It's just like coming soon. I think the rumor is fall.
September maybe. So there you go. If it's September, Travis will be missing out on it. But I feel like Taylor's really gonna want to watch this. And again, it's Netflix, so if he's around, I could totally see us doing a review on it.
There you go. Oh, no, after Space Jam, I listen. No reviews on me. Taylor's throwing shade. He's like, oh, he'll give it this. He'll do this. Blah blah blah. No, not at all.
You can record your little 2-minute after.
Yeah, just another review of Army of the Dead. Let's see here. So that was it for the trailers. I want to talk about this now. So
I was gonna slide in another trailer here. You probably didn't even watch it. I kind of forgot that it came out.
So how would I slide it in? You know what I'm saying?
I probably should have shouted it out. It came out 5 days ago. It's the Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf. That's like that Netflix animated Witcher. So they released, I think it was a teaser trailer. It just kind of showed what the show's about, and it's basically following like a young Vizimir, which is really cool. So he's more like sly and not like the old like grump. He's like just like a hot young Witcher, which is really fun. And like I love the Witcher universe, so I'm just so excited to get this. But I didn't realize like how similar the animation was to Castlevania. I'm not sure if you've seen that one on there. I don't really know anything.
I've seen it, but I've seen like what the look is.
Yeah, so it's pretty much like the exact same art style. Wouldn't be surprised if it's like the same like animation studio as well. But I love that show for like the anime aspect of it and just how it looked and the brutality and how like violent it was. But I don't know anything about Castlevania. Now this is like a world that I am fairly familiar with, so it's combining those two things that I love. So I'm very, very excited for this one. I can't quite remember. It says, oh yeah, August 23rd is when it's coming out. So
wow.
I will be home for this. So who knows? Maybe there'll be some sort of review for it, even if it's just myself or. I don't know. I'm
never Kirklin solo review, eh?
Yeah, I might have to script it. I've had to record myself with no one else, and I mean, you've done it all the time, so you're like a pro at it now. But it is surprisingly difficult. I don't know if it's just me, but like I feel like sometimes when I like get caught on something and then I'm just like dead air and then I'm like, oh, I can't bounce it to anyone right now. I just literally have to keep talking. So there's been a few times where I've literally had to like re-record things. I've had to slow record, but nonetheless, I'm very, very intrigued on this one. I probably will be watching it day one. So yeah, I'm just excited to watch it and possibly share my thoughts with all y'all.
Yeah, it's one I might check out because I know it's an anime form, but I still might check out because I like the Witcher world. All depends on that week and everything like that. But it's on the possible list. I didn't watch trailer though, but I will. And I didn't want to be spoiled.
My bad. I should have put in the show notes.
I was like, Dune, now this. Sorry, I'm gonna know all these projects and movies before they come out. You know what I'm saying? So, let's see. So this came out Friday. As of right now, it's a rumor, but it's probably about B tier. Came from Collider. There's a word going around now that Michael Jordan, well, I guess his name is Michael Jordan. Michael B. Jordan's company is producing a Valsod Superman series for HBO Max with potentially him starring as it. So it's funny because we had talked about this, and this is why I go check out DC Alliance. They just record theirs. That was their main topic. Those guys know a lot more about these Superman than we do. But we talked about this months ago when that whole Black Superman thing came out with J.J. Abrams and Tasha Coates and stuff like this. We're talking like, why don't they use one of these Superman who, are already black and stuff like that? And lots of people wanted that. And it's funny that now we have that movie and now we have this potential series. I have some other questions, but what do you just feel about this on the whole, as far as, let's say we get an HBO Max Superman series with Michael B. Jordan playing a new Superman? So not Clark Kent, but a new Superman we have not had on live action yet.
I love it. I'm a big fan of Michael B. Jordan. I think he's amazing. I think he's, a strapping young man. And all the straps. I think it's just really cool that like it's his own production company doing it, because it just goes to show like the passion that he has for it. Obviously, like we've all seen Black Panther. We saw what he could do as a villain type character. So I would imagine this would be a more protagonist type role. Are we just assuming that it's starring him? Or is that what it said?
It said that it hit the idea, like they're producing this with a possibility of him starring it. So I think it'd be one of these things of like his schedule got crazy amount, he couldn't do it. But like I think he wants to do it. He has talked about this character for a while. Even on Oprah, he was trying to explain to Oprah years ago like the differences between different Earths and stuff like that, how he wouldn't play Clark Kent. So I think if this does happen, he'll star in it. I don't think there's no way he doesn't, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I think that would be awesome. I like Superman. I grew up watching like the Christopher Reeves one. Again, that's well before my time, but it's just my dad put it on for me, and I just love the idea of Superman. I love Henry Cavill's Superman, but I can totally see how people are like, oh, it's just like the same boring type character. He's all bronze, and he's just can't really be defeated except for this green stuff that just weakens him. So I can understand why people might get like bored of just the same type of character. But I think when we have someone not only of just like different ethnicity, but like a different like universe based, because it's like a multiverse situation, right? Yeah, so I think that is just a really, really fun idea. I mean, we're jumping into the multiverse of madness in the MCU. I want to see just more different interpretations of the character. I think that's what's so intriguing to me about games like Injustice or just different games that bring in like different interpretations of the characters, because it's all just cool stuff to me. I just love superheroes, supervillains, and I like seeing more than what I've already seen, because it's like I'm rediscovering a character, even though like they might be similar, like probably similar powers and everything like that, but just a new version of it. It's just so fun. And again, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Michael B. Jordan, and I want to see them dive into just different ideas surrounding these characters, maybe like different costumes and stuff like that. Got to imagine he's got a different costume than Clark Kent.
I want that Valzod costume, that blue and silver one that's always going around. That costume's.
I'll pull it up.
Just put in Michael B. Jordan Valzod. It's there. Tony Waltgater says, isn't he also working on Stag Shop movie? Yeah, that's the rumor going around. I think he is, but I think that's just producing. I don't think he's starring in it at all. So I think it's very easy for him. But I think this is a great route to go, just because if it is a series on HBO Max, one word that I imagine you could have is just like freedom or creative control. That's the thing. I don't think it has to follow the norms of the movie. And I'm not saying it has to be radar. I don't need to, like, Michael B. Jordan, sure, get his shirt off, show everything. But I'm not saying like, oh, now he's going to have like a fucking full on X-rated sex scene. But I'm just saying that there's less pressures of it has to end with a big fight or has to do this wise, stuff like that. And plus, if it's multiple episodes, you could really flesh out that character The only thing is just make sure if this is happening and it's a series on HBO Max, make sure that budget is hella good. I don't want a Superman show looking cheap, which actually I will say Superman Lois looks really good. So if you get that and make it even better, sure works for me. Michael B. Jordan, I've said this before, he's on the man crush list. He's one of the best actors going around right now. He has been everyone's kind of like dream pick for Superman, I think, for the past few years. And sometimes I feel like dreams picks just make complete sense, right? It's like a few years ago, Rosario Dawson and Ahsoka. It's just like, yeah, it's a typecast, everyone wants it, but sometimes everyone wants it because it's just perfect, and I feel like he would do a perfect version of Superman, but he could do his own type. Obviously, that's the great thing about playing a different character, but he could put his different spin on it, which I know Michael B. Jordan could. So I'm all for this. It's funny though, I do think though if this happens, the other one doesn't happen. I don't think
Static Shock.
No, the J.J. Abrams Black Superman one. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling that, and I don't know what that story is, but I just feel like if you're making two products that are maybe too similar, or just like the idea of one is a new character, but then the other one has this thing like, oh, well, it's Superman from a black man's point of view. I feel like they're gonna cross unless it's literally just an action movie. The JJ one's an action one and he just happens to be black, then sure. But like, I feel like they could end up covering similar ideas, and it's tough because you can make a case for either one not happening. But I bet if this one happens, the other one might take a back seat, and we might not get it. And that's it's not that it's fine with me, but it's like I love JJ, but it's like if I get the chance to see Michael B. Jordan as Superman, that's the door I'm walking through,
Do you think so? Again, like this is just kind of talks right now, but is it out of the realm of possibility that this isn't live action and like they do something more like Invincible, where you can actually have like unlimited creativity on like you can literally just have brains everywhere if you wanted to. You can do crazy fight scenes and all this stuff because you don't have to worry about it being too like Space Channel CGI, because I feel like certain, I don't know, I'll just throw like Supergirl in my mind, like it just feels like lesser than like what like a main movie is. Nothing to do with the gender of the characters, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So like, is it just like, oh no, it'll be live action for sure, or is it? I don't know. We can see what happens, and then just like voiced by Michael B. Jordan,
Well, Michael B. Jordan's been on record. He says he absolutely hates any animation, so it's definitely not going to be animated. No, I think there's like a possibility, but I think it would be live. I say it's like a 90% it's live action. So,
like, part of me is just thinking of how, again, I don't know what the numbers are in Invincible, but like everyone that's seen the show just praises it and how phenomenal it is and how like new it is to a superhero genre, at least in my social circles. So I feel like, I don't know, if you're doing a new version of a character, you could do something like that, and then it kind of, I don't know, like I feel like you don't even have to be a Superman guy. It's just like, oh, did you see this new Val Zod show? Oh no, I don't. Oh no, yeah, it's like a new multiverse of like Superman, or like a new take on it. People, I don't know. Part of me thinks that might be a successful route.
Some people that see animation, they'll write off, right? Oh, it's a kid's show, or it's this or that. Where sure. if you get Michael B. Jordan in that suit, people might be like, oh, what's this? Like, and that's probably the bigger pull, which is a bad thing. Like, I don't think it should be that way, but
yeah.
Kind of is, yeah.
I guess also if you have it as a live action show down the line, it's possible that he does get a full movie out of it. Yeah, you never know, right? So it'd be harder to have an animated character that's all of a sudden it's Michael B. Jordan live action and say it's the same universe.
It's looking like Space Jam over here, So.
Yeah, get some tunes in there.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep updated on that. Also, we've had similar conversations before, so in my opinion, hopefully it happens. I would love to see that. I think if it does happen, that's when they're saving for fandom in October. I think that's a big announcement. If you haven't come out, you show concept art, you haven't talked about the show. I think that's a big get for them if that is the case. So, and it's gonna be interesting too if he's doing this and he is back in Black Panther 2, like some of those rumors suggest. It's like he's busy, and Static Shaw he's producing, so he's a busy guy,
So there you go.
Yeah, who else is busy sometimes? Is I don't know, I think his name's Ash Ketchum or something. He's that fucking Pokemon kid. Either way, it came out today that Netflix is going to be doing a live action Pokemon show. Not much is known, not any more details. That's just what's happening right now. So what were your thoughts when you heard this?
My thoughts went to Detective Pikachu. Just like
Detective Pikachu, you mean?
Isn't that what I said? Detective Pikachu?
Pikachu, yeah. Pikachu.
Oh, you're giving me shit. The guy that says Pokemon, not Pokemon. It's an E with an accent,
Pikachu.
Travis.
It's Pika with an A. Pika.
That's Pokemon.
Pikachu.
No, that's how the freaking mouse says it. You're not a mouse. You're like human, so say it properly, sir.
The mouse says it. What are you, some Disney hater? That's
Pikachu
how the mouse says it.
No, Pikachu's a mouse.
Yeah, sure he is. And I'm the fucking president of Canada.
I'll take you to school on Pokemon. Not Pokemon, like you like to say it.
Pokemon.
I always like. I'm not sure. I was never sure if you were just saying that
Pikachu.
to like throw shit at like Pokemon, but
no.
God, no, I'm saying it.
Other people have said this too. That about you saying Pikachu.
Is it a Pikachu?
Pika. Yeah,
Pikachu. I disagree. Pikachu. Pick and choose the way that you want to say Pikachu.
So what do you think about the show, sir?
The Electric Mouse, Pikachu. There you go. S-Bubs. You know, it is a mouse. But anyways, what do I think about this news? I don't know.
S-Bubs with like a presidential statement. I gave my thoughts in Discord. I don't really have anything else to say. Very nice.
I did not have sexual intercourse with that female.
Yeah, all on the Discord. I put up my full statement about the sexual discourse on Discord.
That's hilarious. I've kind of been like out of the group chat, so I haven't even heard like the Pokemon.
You muted it.
No, I haven't muted it. It's just the day was busy, so I only saw what news I really wanted to see, and I didn't hear their takes on
today?
Pokemon.
I thought you mean today. I thought you meant in general.
No. Just around this news. And I don't even know what like the loyal Pokemon fans in our chat are. They're probably pretty positive on it. Just more Pokemon stuff, I guess.
They love anything Pokemon. They'll be like, "Oh, we got Pokemon like cards that will tax you more," and then they're like, "Fuck yeah, I need to buy it."
Yeah. So I mean, Pokemon has an interesting place with me because I feel like I really love the original show. Like I had like the DVDs and stuff for it. And again, I just like all of my friends had like the Pokemon cards. But even as a young kid, I remember when they're coming out with like the new gens, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I've already collected all 150 Pokemon. Like, why do I have to get more? Like I remember being as a kid, I'm like, this is like a cash grab. Fuck this. Like I was like already kind of out of it at that point. The games are fun, but like the new games I can't really get into because I just feel like it kind of scratches that nostalgia itch for me of just what the game is. But because it's changed so much, a part of me is like, I just want that top down black and white, like classic Pokemon. So I feel like I've kind of grown out of it where when I get new Pokemon stuff, the demon on my shoulder, Travis Snell, I feel like when there is new Pokemon stuff coming out, I kind of see it and then I don't get too invested in it. So
because it's not new. It's just a reskin game.
I haven't even seen Detective Pikachu, and that's not because like I've heard your takes on it. Shay quite liked it. I, for whatever reason, didn't see it with her. But I remember just seeing like the trailer for it, and I'm like, this just doesn't look fun to me. Like I like Ryan. I like Ryan Reynolds, but like it's just weird to me that he was Pikachu, and I'm sure there's an explanation.
I always think that was a mistake, in my opinion. And honestly, like, can you search at the box office of that movie? Because I remember. I remember too, like so many people were talking about like, wow, this is going to be huge and this is going to be like $1 billion franchise and can't wait. And it's just like, I remember not it being like a modest hit or like what you got.
Budget was 150 million flat. Take that how you want. And then it made 433 million.
So if you double it, which people say doubling is like the bare minimum, but let's say you double it. So it made a profit, but for me, for
30 million, it's not $1 billion franchise.
No, for what a Pokemon movie do you call it? Pokemon? Yep. How do you say? Pokemon.
Oh,
I think that I was surprised that it was not bigger. And I think that is a big sense of, we'll say this with all things. We have big Marvel fans, big DC fans, stuff like that. But you need the general audience still. If you just took every Marvel comic book fan, the MCU wouldn't exist because they wouldn't all be like, it wouldn't be that huge number it is now, right? I think Pokemon choose that. I liked the world, some of the concepts. I just the movie's not good, in my opinion. It's not writing, acting, everything like that. Ryan Reynolds was a really weird choice, and it's just like, why would you start with Detective Pikachu, as Kirklin say, first? I feel like you build that world up, and it's tough because I saw someone this tweet was going around of like, oh, Warner Brother loses again because they were the one that made Detective Pikachu, and people are like, oh, they could have made this as HBO Max. I 100% agree that they did miss an opportunity there, but at the same time, depending on how much these rights cost and everything like that, if they looked at the movie success, maybe went, you know what, there's not as big as a mark as we thought. Now, people might think I'm going to shit on this. I'm not, because S Bub says Ryan Reynolds' Pikachu is one of the things people liked about the movie above everything else. I mean, Pokemon is a $105 billion franchise. It is, but not in the movies. That's the thing. And I heard that S Bub all the time. Like, Pokemon's so fucking big, it's gonna kill. We even talked about like, would this be a top 10 movie of the year? And it didn't. It just felt like it came and went. Like, and no one talks about it now. Like, it's just like it feels like one of those movies. Like, right, they made that, and I know people liked Ryan Reynolds, but I just feel like for myself, and even I think Jessica, who's like the massive Pokemon fan, was still like, yeah, I wish they would have went something else or a different voice. I just think that was them trying to go for the mainstream, and it just didn't work out. But for me, if you're a longtime listener, other than a few examples, I think majority of video games should be TV series. I think they just work better. I think you can flesh out the world. You could do a side quest as a side movie. You can do all this stuff. I think Pokemon especially could work really well. You just got to make sure you got a good budget, because you don't want those things to look bad. Because if those monsters or whatever the fuck they are, the slaves they keep in little balls, if they don't look good,
Pokemon.
Yeah, and that's where I think for the most part, Detective Pikachu looked good. There's some creatures and whatnot where it's like, this could be a little bit better, but I think it's a great call. I was gonna say I'd just check out the pilot, but the fact that it is Netflix and probably bingeable, I would maybe watch it. Out of curiosity, because I joke about Pokemon as far as hating it. I do dislike it, but it's not so much disliking it, it's just that I had to hear about it all the time. It's not a franchise for me, and but I know there's potential there. I just think Detective Pikachu was not it. So, Tony says that movie should have been a hit at box office wise. Pokemon had such nostalgia for people. Pokemon Go is insanely popular and people still play that game. I agree 100%. With the fact of Pokemon Go being so popular in that movie, like I said, just kind of came when it was very weird. So to me, that says everything you want to know about that movie. S-Bub says I feel like more than the movie that most other fans, because I didn't play the video game. The movie is basically a 101 of the game. Yeah, it is, but it's just like, for me, it's still like, I feel like you started, this is where I was going to ask you, because you know a bit more Pokemon lore. We were talking about those Hansi in the Discord. Do you think with this show they would create, here is Kirkland Paths or the Pokemon catcher, or do you think there is a, hey, this is Ash Ketchum, this is some of that crew and stuff like that? Like, where do you go? I was in the camp that I feel like they should use Ash or some of those characters to just kind of like jump off the popularity, and I think that will help if you're using characters also, not just the creatures. You're using these characters that people know and love. I think they should. I think that's a smart play. Even if they're not the main characters, they should be in the show. But where are you? Do you think Ash could be the main character of this, or do you think, oh, it's Netflix, they're going to create their own world around it?
I could see it being Ash. I feel like part of me thinks that they should not do not do Ash, at least first, because I mean, you make the argument that he's like the most well-known Pokemon trainer. He's pretty much 100%. The protagonist of the entire like franchise. But I don't know, because like that's a lot of pressure to have. This is a live action version of the character, and if everyone just like either hates the casting or hates his line delivery, or just, I don't know, they're like, oh, this is just sucks, and then they have to move forward with this version of Ash, whereas, you know, they grew up watching like the cartoon version of him. And I think like since they've done like, I don't know what it is now, Pokemon Sun and Moon. I think Sun and Moon are the last ones I know of, so let's just use that one as an example. So they have Ash, but he's like might be like animated differently, but he's like pretty much the same character. So like this character has been around, if you've really been following Pokemon, like forever. So I feel like there's just a lot of pressure to like fill those shoes, especially on a live action screen.
So was Spider-Man though. Spider-Man, how long was he around? Then we didn't get a movie till 2002. You know,
that's a good point. I feel like it's hard for me to like understand that because I was born in '96, so like 2002 is like I like, yeah, I'd seen like the '60s like animated series, but Toby was like my first Peter Parker. I feel like I saw more of Spider-Man in the mask on like the cartoons back in the day, but really it was Toby as the character that made me like know who he was. So he's been 10 for yeah.
He's like
exactly.
the Simpsons or Family Guy, you know,
and like,
they just don't age.
Let's just say this is really successful. You know, humans age. You can't really fake that on screen. So,
but I think that's fine. Where it's like you make those characters actually age. I think Kirklin just doesn't want them to catch Ash or cast Ash because he's having Dragon Ball like evolution flashbacks where he's seeing Goku live, and it's like, this is not Goku. But it's funny because even like in our Discord online, like S-Bub says, I think they'd be Ash and started definitely remix with new and old characters. But then Tony says, I don't need Ash. If they have Pokemon, that'll do. But if you think they have at least an Easter egg, a special appearance, old generation group Ash, this generation can meet someone new. And that's what I've seen, like I said, spread throughout of cases pro and for. I just think from a business standpoint, you use Ash. I think that gets people's eyes on it right away. That also shows, hey, we're not going with fucking Detective Pikachu. We're not going with his son. We're going with, okay, this is like the, the nostalgia hit on it, everything like that. So that's why I think they'll go there, even if he's just a character, you know, and
True.
It's gonna be interesting. I that show has potential to blow up because I think unlike a movie where you got to go for mainstream people to go, I got to spend $12-15, I can skip Detective Pikachu. Where if it's just a click of the button with Netflix you already own, could be really well done. And it's again, I still think video games are all better as TV series for the most part. So
yeah,
we're gonna take our last ad break, and then we just got a last few stories, and then we'll be right back. And we're back. So Kirkland, I might be throwing you to the wolves here, but if not, I can go. Have you seen any Exorcist movies before?
I've seen the first one for sure. I think I've seen like, you probably don't count it, but like the Exorcism of Emily Rose. I don't think that's the same franchise, but it's an Exorcist movie, so I've seen that one. You don't like that one?
No, it's just not in this franchise, you know. There's the Exorcist, Exorcist 1, 2. Yeah. So they announced that David, what is his full name? David S. Green or David something Green. Anyways, the guy who just directed the last 3 Halloween movies, they are giving him and his team $400 million.
Oh, that's where my name came from. Thanks for figuring it out on your own, Travis. Now.
There you go. Wow, look at that. Good job. You got me there. They're giving $400 million. So people are like, really? $400 million? They're making him make 3 fucking movies. Like he's gonna be using that all throughout everything.
Yeah.
They announced, which I am kind of surprised. They announced there's gonna be a trilogy. They're gonna have the original actress who came back, who played Reagan back, and then Odell. I think it's like Leslie Odom Jr. or what's his name? I've not seen much of his work.
I was looking at Linda Blair. So that's Reagan,
so she's coming back.
And then Leslie Odom Jr.
Leslie Odom Jr. Who I've not seen in much or anything, but the plot is he has a daughter. She gets possessed by, I imagine, maybe something similar to what Reagan did, and then he's going to go to her to get help. I really like that idea. I think that's really good. I think it has that Force Awakens Creed aspect of bringing in the old cast and mixing with new casting of adventure. A few weeks ago, it's funny, when this story was first broken, it was just one movie and it was a remake of Exorcist, and the internet hated it. They just destroyed it. And as I've said before, I don't really care, because sure, remake The Exorcist, because it's like, it's still there. As we've talked about before, I don't care if they announce next year they're remaking Lord of the Rings. I still have those other original movies, and like, sure, either these suck or I got a new version, so bring it on. But it's interesting. I want to know what the pitch is. There's 2 things I'll say about this. I want to know what the pitch is, because to get a whole trilogy of Exorcist on paper, I go, that's pretty bold. So it's like, what is this idea that's going to span over 3 movies when we got sequels to Exorcist, but they were not good? The first movie was just like this one case with this girl. Let's help get this demon out of her. But then 2, the other thing is, these are the same team that did the last, the first Halloween, and now they're doing Halloween Kills that comes out this year and Halloween Ends that comes out next year. To me, this shows that Universal is very confident in those movies, and they really like working with these people. The fact they would give them all this money and just say, not even you're doing 1 Exorcist, let's see how it goes. They're giving them 3. Just, here you go. Here's a trilogy. That's a lot. So it does intrigue me. We hopefully are going to retro these, because I think those would be some fun episodes. But what about you? Are you interested in seeing a continuation to The Exorcist? Because there are sequels, but in my opinion, I have a theory they're going to Halloween it, where it's just going to be a sequel just to the first one. That's what I bet they'll do.
Yeah, no, I think it's just such a fun idea because The Exorcist is one of those movies that like just so many people know about. It's just such a classic horror
Yeah. Oh
movie.
yeah.
Like again, like I think I watched the first one with my dad, so like he has a lot of experience with he's probably seen all of them. So when I tell him this news, because he doesn't really keep up to date with all the new
Not
news,
listen to
especially regarding to
GeekVerse.
maybe not this far, maybe like the first 20 minutes about music, but
Hey.
so like I think he'll be like really really stoked because again it's just a movie that came out so like what was the first one, 1970s,
I think so.
70?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like he grew up when these movies were coming out, so like for him that's a lot of nostalgia, and I feel like there'll be a lot of people that are like around my dad's age, they'll just get really excited for this because again it's just jumping back to those types of movies where
Yeah.
it's not really a nostalgia thing for me. It's just it's such like an iconic movie of like the little girl just like her head spinning around, you know, and like those scenes like they're pretty easy to like remember, and
Which is tough though for this movie.
for sure. No, for sure.
Yeah.
Like you can only recreate that scene like maybe once, and then if you're just doing it multiple times, like, oh no, what are we doing here? They're just trying to.
I don't think they even do it once. I think you gotta do something else. Yeah, I think like maybe you could do some sort of tribute, like it looks like it happened, but like well, it's tough because you didn't see the first Halloween that they did, but actually does that where for me and Dylan, it like tributes it too much. So maybe they actually will. Maybe they will just do it. I'll take that back because there's a few times in Halloween where it's like, oh, this is exactly like the first Halloween, and you're almost just remaking it. So. It is tough though because and I feel like this one is just like you have Halloween and Friday 13th, but those had so many sequels in the slasher franchise. It's like sequels are way more common, right? But this one that even did get sequels, it feels just so singular. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Like, so it's not even a movie. It's the fact that it's 3 movies. Is like, what the fuck did they pitch? You know?
Are they fear streeting it? Where it's like that'd be pretty crazy.
every week I go back to the theater and pay another $12 to $15 though.
Yeah. No, again, it's just really, really interesting to me because again, they're gonna have to find a way to make it more modern and be, you know, something new, but also like jump or like come from because like you're saying, it seems like they're gonna probably just sequel it from the first movie. And so you got to attach it to that, but also make it more modern, make it more just relevant to nowadays technology and whatever it might be. But like the idea of what the Exorcist is like, it's pretty basic, right? Like just like a priest is coming to this house, and then it's just like this child, the viewer, we don't really know what's going on. All of a sudden, it kind of gets like she's pretty demonic looking, and then you know the movie plays on from there. But I just think that idea is really really fun, and like I mentioned the Exorcist of Emily Rose. There's probably been so many different versions of these types of movies. And again, they're probably just all stemming from that original and
100%.
trying to like make off the success there. But I just think, especially since it's like attached to that original, that gets me really excited. Whereas if it was just like The Exorcist of Taylor Field, like, okay, if it's actually Taylor Field, I would be interested.
He needs one.
Yeah, but like, you know, I'm just inserting a blank name there. Like that doesn't really get me interested, but just the fact that this is just a trilogy, 400 million, like this is your money to work with, spread it amongst those 3 films. I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, first one's supposed to be coming out 2023. So again, Halloween Kills is this year, Halloween Ends is next year, and then the year after this guy has a movie coming out with that. So like I said, I think, and it's the same company, everything like that. So I think they're pretty confident in them. So yeah, when we get 2 years from now, ask us. But like I said, I think as we talked about this weekend, M. Night Shyamalan, I think would be a fun retro, and I think this would be a fun retro because I think there's some pretty bad sequels in there too that would have we'd have a good time picking apart and everything like that. So this last story that I got is, so this had been a rumor for a little bit, and then it popped up again that NetherRealms was working on a Marvel fighting game. So they said this came out a few months ago, but then it's coming back up. Let's see here. I was trying to find, there was some leaks of, here was the list of the characters that were included in this game. Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Wolverine, Black Panther, Green Rocket as a duo character, Blade, Gamora, Moon Knight, Ghost Rider, Gambit, Shang-Chi, Kitty Pryde, Invisible Woman, Mr. Fantastic, Hulk, Scar, Dr. Octopus. Ooh, Dr. Octopus. That'd be fucking fun. Blob, Mojo, Bullseye, Mephisto, Dakin, really? Dakin's giving this Armin Zola, Venom, Abomination, Deacon Frost, and Madame Mask. So that is quite a roster. And this was, again, kind of like our trailer, according to Reddit user, Comic-Con Throwaway, that they were working on this. I know people were hyped a few months ago, hoping it was a DC versus Marvel game, but fighting games are so tough because you guys bought Mortal Kombat recently, and for me it's this sounds great, I'm into, but it's I sometimes go, just am I gonna spend $60-$80 on it? Now this is a bit different because even the Injustices I've wanted to catch up on and us review or play the third ones, even for streaming. I think they'd be fun as we're starting to do that more, so we'll see. I even want to just watch the movie cutscenes of Injustice because people say good things about that, but I want to get in the fighting games, but fighting games have always had a thing where I enjoy, but then they get a little too repetitive for me, and I know that's why you switch characters, but just the general, how you play it, the combo, stuff like that. So it's always games I can't justify it, but I hope this happens because one, I want Marvel to continue to do different games, and two, just to see what they do, because Injustice, that game came out, a whole comic book series came out, they're making an animated movie about that right now. That spawned a whole different franchise for DC just based off this video game that people really enjoy. Even Snyder, he lifted some stuff from the Injustice storyline, like Evil Superman stuff in that. So that's what just gets me to say, what does the team from Injustice and Mortal Kombat create with a Marvel license? And that's where it's and I might be shield because Marvel's I love that more than Mortal Kombat or DC. So it's I really like that roster. I didn't even read it. I had heard some of them, but Doc Ock and Dak and Wolverine's son and Armin Zola. There's some
Mysterio. That one really caught my interest there.
There's some really weird. Did I say Mysterio?
I thought you did.
No, I don't think so.
Run that shit back.
I will. Let's see. But what do you
check on the YouTube? Yeah, so this got me so excited. I picked up the latest Mortal Kombat.
No, Mephisto.
Mephisto. Okay, there you go.
Which would be just as intriguing, I think, too.
Just as intriguing. And
finally.
If you have any experience with at least the latest Mortal Kombat games, they all, I mean, you played Injustice. They all have unique lines, when interacting. I guess the Batman one, that's kind of a running meme. He's Batman.
Yeah.
But
and we just played the game again on the charity stream, remember, a few months ago?
Exactly. Yeah. That was what are they called? My gosh. Oh, you know what they call those assholes? The ones that took over our show.
What?
I'm blanking right now. Travis Smells and no, it wasn't Travis. It was your brother.
Taylor played it.
It was your brother and
well, yeah, from Hunka Hunka.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. I forgot what they're called.
That was Injustice. No, I'm saying, but Mortal Kombat 2, I just played where they had those similar cutscenes. We just played that on the stream.
I thought you were still talking about Injustice.
Come on now.
We're getting late into the cast.
As this wasn't this news from months ago. It was, and then this rumor came back up. So I don't think we ever talked about on cast, but that's why, because more evidence of it, and this was the roster of it. So it looks kind of Kingpin-ish, where it's if there's smoke, is there fire?
Yeah. So I was what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So just the different I don't know, opening dialogue. I could totally see some funny Mephisto talking about WandaVision or something, oh, you didn't see me then, here I am now. I could totally see them breaking the fourth wall in that situation, because they have some very unique lines. I was gonna also mention I picked up the latest Mortal Kombat literally just in anticipation for the movie, because I just got hit with because one of my first games ever was Mortal Kombat 1 on the Sega Genesis. I love those games, so they do have nostalgia for me. And then playing the latest one, I fell in love with it. I feel I am really in the NetherRealms bandwagon now. I'll probably be following all their upcoming games, because I was just so impressed with the quality of that game. It played so smoothly. All the characters look gorgeous. The story mode was just phenomenal. I was very impressed about the story, how it was written. It was a really good story, which you're not buying those games for the story. Usually it's just an arcade fighter, but I was super blown away about that one. So just the thought of doing an MCU one just got me so excited, because I was so impressed with the latest one. And then if they get the the Marvel banner on there, I'll probably be a sucker. And if it's an $80-$90 game, I probably will get it right away.
I was gonna say, I don't think it would be MCU. I think it would just be their own kind of a Marvel thing. I didn't even continue reading down, so I have a few more things. So when you're talking about the openings, they said Deadpool will be a pre-order bonus, which think about all those interactions again. So this is that this is something that I smell that makes me call bullshit on this. But then if it's real, this is hype. But they already say they know what the first DLC pack is. So I'm like, okay, like maybe, but like this is where I'm going to give you the DLC pack and let me know until you think the person could be in or could be not. Okay, so the first one would like these are the 4. Daredevil. Seems fine, right? That would make sense. Daredevil. Cyclops. Makes sense again to me. Raiden makes sense, as even in Injustice they had some, Scorpion was in there.
Crossover? Oh,
yeah,
okay,
they did. Yeah. Kylo Ren of the Star Wars franchise.
That's interesting.
If we're doing the We Got This Covered BS meter, that makes my BS meter go really high. Now, also, if that is real, that is my money sunk in. Because everyone knows I'm the number 1 Kylo Ren fanboy, but I also think like I think him in a fighting game would be tons of fun, and him to mix out with those characters. If we were to commit to review, I'd maybe jump in with you, Kirklin. You can't pull my arm that much. But then also I got another piece of news after that. But let me know about what do you think about that? Daredevil, Cyclops, Raiden, and Kylo Ren as the first DLC pack. Again, I almost just wonder like how would they know this far along? But then this person maybe is just in deep with them.
Yeah, I mean, again, the BS meter kind of bounces around in that instance for sure. At the end of the day, they are Disney, right? Marvel, or Disney owns Marvel. Disney Star Wars, so it is possible. I just
100%.
I just feel like until I see it, I don't want to get excited for it, because like again, just like you, like I was already saying, I would probably get this day one, but just the possibility of getting like Star Wars characters as well, let alone like Kylo Ren. Give me that like mask off variation when he's just got like the long, nice Adam Driver hair
the mask,
and all this.
Well, I guess you said variation, right?
In Mortal Kombat games, at least in the latest one, like the amount of customization you could do in your character, it's literally absurd. Like you can change everything about, like, it's crazy. So again, let's just keep feeding into this theory that we're getting Kylo Ren in there. You could totally get different versions of it for sure.
A rumor goes on to say that NetherRealm's Marvel fighting game will be loosely based on the World War Hulk storyline, will feature gameplay similar to Injustice. Many characters will be redesigned and reimagined for the game, while many iconic movie costumes will be added in over time. Hashtag give me that Toby Spider-Man costume, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's interesting. So World War Hulk 2, that could kind of almost be similar as Justice, as far as the Hulks taking over the world and destroying it. And you're like in this sort of, it's very similar in Justice in that sort of sense of like a almost post-apocalyptic thing, but that could make sense of like if Hulk is your big bad at the end and like that. And it also works too, because Scar, his son, is listed as a fighter, which you would to me go, that's kind of random. Why is just Hulk's son in there? But if that's part of the story, that would make lots of sense.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah. And the fact that my boy Moon Knight's in there is already like they're showing me some love. So yeah, the one that makes me really question is not question, but just like Deacon Frost. He's that Blade villain, and it's like, oh, that's a strange choice. But yeah, that's
Deacon Frost. Isn't that Blade? Yeah, the Blade villain. Okay.
Yeah, he's Blade villain. Yeah, I just said that, Kirklin.
Sorry, I was not listening.
He's thinking too much about this game. But no, like I said, you don't have to twist my arm a little bit for us to play and get a review down, maybe just because like it would be, I want to be in the fighting games where there's just so many games to do, but I've been trying to game manage. So
I was pretty like push back on like the arcade fighters, because I felt like, I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of out of that, I don't know, era of life. Yeah, exactly. Like I felt like that's so attached to like an arcade where you actually have like the stick and everything, or like Sega Genesis in my mind, until I jumped into this latest one, and I'm like, wow, the story is phenomenal in this. The details phenomenal, all the customization, and like it's just really fun game to play. It makes because all the games are technically the exact same. You have 3 rounds, just fight it out, but there's just something that makes it have so much replayability, and I was very blown away with this recent game. Part of me is like, am I going to regret this purchase? Am I going to just play it for like a weekend or something? But no, I I really, really love that game. Anytime Taylor wants to play him again, I'll wipe his ass with Sindel, just like I did last time.
Oh, yeah, he's saying he needs to train more, so we'll see what comes up charity stream. But that's the thing with NetherRealms. Like, even when I played it last time, like, oh, it's a great game. I played it at friends, and then when I play again at Taylor's with you guys doing it, it's just like they do just make such high quality games. So it's like I never worry about that. Like dropping money, I know like if I want an arcade fighting game, you're gonna get the best of the best here. And yeah, and then as Bob says, Blade is a major part of the story. It would make sense, I guess. Honestly, I suppose I gotta reread World War Heart. It's been it's definitely been like 10 plus years. I think I only read it once. So if you're right on that, as far as I remember Blade being in it, but that would make sense as far as Deacon Frost. But yeah, maybe that's a comic book versions to do if that game's coming out. But yeah, we'll see. I wonder. So they just finished the DLC for Mortal Kombat, and they said there was no more. So I wonder how long this game would be, because we have that Marvel Future Fight game that's on the PC, I think. And then we have Guardians coming out. They're still doing Avengers content. We know they're getting another Spider-Man. So, yeah, I'm wondering. Next year's probably too early, but I wonder maybe 2023-ish. Maybe we get something in the realm of possibility, or you think that's even too early?
You said 2023?
Yeah.
And then we're just assuming that these rumors came out of Comic-Con?
No, these have been rumored for a while. I think there's just a poster going ham. Just like, hey, I'm gonna just post some shit. Yeah.
I'm gonna early 2023, late 2022. That's my wild guess.
Oh,
maybe
wow,
I should check when the last NetherRealm releases are. For some reason, I feel like they might have like a window of when they just naturally release games.
Yeah.
Kind of how like Call of Duty is November. Like they're just known for November releases. I feel like maybe. Anyways,
yeah. Well, I know they had just announced, like I said, last month that I think last month that they were fully done the DLC. There would be no more. So people kind of took that as like they're fully working on that game, but they could have people already working on it, right? So
yeah, it looks like it's pretty much bounced all over March. Yeah, maybe early 2023 then.
Fanboy Clay says 2023 E3. Yeah, maybe. It just depends how much Marvel wants to control the narrative, but they did have the Guardians reveal there, so yeah, that would make sense there.
Get Kang. I could totally see Kang in there.
Yeah, technically Marvel and DC have crossed over in Fortnite already. LOL. Pub says yes, that's true, but maybe, just maybe, this game, because they Ed Boon had said like, oh yeah, we'd love to do it, and then obviously it hadn't happened. So maybe this game happens, and then there's some sort of conversation, and man, that would be huge. Just agree, just say we're gonna split the cost, we're gonna split the price 50-50. Whatever we make 50-50. It's not that hard, very easy, but people gotta make things harder. So hopefully this is a real game, and it's not just something we're getting excited for, and it's just one of those fake ass rumors that never happen. Like how many Superman games were in development that got canceled, but it's like, oh, it's gonna get revealed this year. So anything else to say on this?
No, I'm excited to follow it closely for any new news.
Yeah. Well, we did it. We're coming on 2 hours here. That was a big, lengthy newscast, but it was lots of fun. We had tons of news to talk about. So I know I will be back in a couple days. I'm going to be doing newscasts. Kirklin's like what's your percentage, Kirklin, that you'll be here?
For Wednesday?
You said under 50, didn't you?
Over 50 now.
Over 50 now. Wow, we'll see. Yeah. So I know we're getting a new Ghostbusters trailer, so that'll be on the newscast. We get that tomorrow. So you don't have, you might want to be careful. It might spoil too much for you, if you're gonna watch it. But
I'm not too worried about that one. I feel like with Dune, I'm like, okay, no matter what happens, I feel like it'll just be an experience. Where now it's like, okay, maybe I want to see what I'm getting myself into, prepare myself a bit.
Yeah. Ghostbusters, we know the kids are gonna get the packs, fight some ghosts, but I'm excited to see just that world. So, and I'm not even a big Ghostbusters fan, but it's just like I want them to get a mulligan, I want them to get a win. So, and I'm sure there'll be other stuff popping off. So, thank you very much, sir, for joining. This was a good one. Thank you for everybody in the chat, always adding to it, making lots of fun, having some good side conversations, and yeah, there was just tons of stuff to talk about. So. Thank you very much for tuning in, and you promise. I don't know what you promise, but we can promise you that it'll not be boring. Yeah, we all promise that nothing's gonna be boring. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.